Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to the JAKIB Postgame Show. The Philadelphia Eagles win a nail-biter. And Sills, I'm calling it luck. I'm calling it luck. Whether you want to say it was God himself or whatever it was on this Sunday, the Birds get the win 22-16, moved to 11-2 on the year. That's their 9th straight victory. And boy, was it an ugly one today, but a win is a win, as they say. Big Sills, what did you just see and what we just saw? How did Xavier Legette drop that ball at the end? A total busted coverage. He was wide open. I'm erupting at the TV. Birds got lucky. That's it. That's the only way to explain this. The Eagles got lucky in this game.
Way to battle a 3-win team. I mean, hey, I got to say, man, way to show up today and play down to your opponent. I mean, without a doubt, I didn't see anything special out of Carolina. The quarterback on Carolina outplayed the elite Jalen Hurts. I mean, why didn't you just keep running the football? Keep running it. Keep running it. Do you understand how bad Carolina is on every level defensively? Every level defensively. They're not good anywhere. Some of the things that we brought up prior to in the pregame show, Zander, if you remember, I said, look, they got an O-line. They've got a running back, and the running back was essential in it. I mean, look, they're a bad football team who made bad plays in the game. That's why they are a 3-win team. What's the Eagles' excuse? Their offense, once again, is the worst offense in pro football in the first quarter. You can't give me struggling against Carolina and tell me, what's this? Zander, if you struggle against Carolina and you struggle against the Ravens and you struggle against Washington and you struggle against the Giants, let's do this. That is a fundamental, philosophical, organizational decisions that they're making that are wrong. It doesn't matter if you're playing good teams or bad teams. You suck at your process that you talk about consistently in the first quarter. You completely get away from running the football with those stupid pass plays. Dude, how are you in a fucking game with the Carolina Panthers? They are awful. And you're like, people started tweeting at me. Well, Sills, they were close to Tampa and they were close to Kansas City. Wait a minute here. You've been telling me you have the number 1 defense in pro football, and you told me that passing game wouldn't rear its ugly head. It did. It did. You should have been annihilating that team in the passing game. AJ still couldn't be defended. Your quarterback took now his 32nd sack of the season, Zander. How many times did he take you out of field position, too, when it came to poor decision makings in the pocket? By the way, Jake Elliott is officially a problem.
Yeah, he's officially a liability. He's 0 for 5 from 50-plus this year. So as you get into a playoff game, you need a kicker that can hit a 50-plus yarder. He is officially on the liability list.
By the way, if they don't go for 2, he misses the extra point on that too,
I know. It's so true.
Extra point.
Yeah, he's completely become a liability.
All you can ask for if you're a 3-win team like Carolina is to have a last shot to win it. You did this with Jacksonville, and you now have done it with Carolina. Dude, Zander, you're in game. How many people thought you were going to play a 60-minute ball game today? I didn't.
Sills, I got to be honest, you were really on the money with what this Carolina team wanted to do in this game, and they were able to do it. You said they're going to want 12 to 14 play drives that eat up 7 to 9 minutes. They had 2 of those as their touchdown drives, and they nearly had another touchdown drive at the end. How did Legette drop that ball? So he was wide open. I'm like clutching my head as I'm watching that game. I couldn't believe he dropped that pass, and I think that would have ended the game. I mean, Birds were up by 6 at that point, so they would have had a chance to take the lead with the point after, and maybe the Eagles would have had 40 seconds, but a crazy finish to that game. Let me give everybody the stats real quick. Jalen Hurts was 14 of 21 in this game for 108 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 4 sacks, 25 yards of sacks. Saquon Barkley, listen to this, everybody. 20 carries, 124 yards, 1 yard short of the jersey giveaway here on JAKIB Sports. Hurts at 8
Oh, my
carries,
God.
1 yard short. We couldn't even get a jersey from this game. A.J. Brown, 4 catches, 43 yards. Devontae Smith, 4 catches, 37 yards. Clearly nothing prolific going on in the passing game there with that Eagles offense. So let's get into Jalen Hurts, the starting topic. By far his worst game of the year, in my opinion. And actually, Sills, I'll go as far as to say this is the first game in this 9-game win streak, maybe outside of the Cleveland win, that I look and I say, okay, it's great to be 11-2. I don't think we can hang with the best teams in the league if we play like that. This is the first time. Now, we've had issues with the passing game in the past, but the running game was so dominant. Everything else made up for it. Today was a combination that I saw where if you have that performance versus Detroit, they will beat us 38-14. They will blow us off the page if we do what we did today versus one of the better teams in the league.
How about this? Watch how many people around the city and watch how many people will come up with the lamest excuses in the world for that quarterback's performance today. He's terrible.
Oh, we're already getting him.
I would say this to you, that easily could have been his worst performance in 2 years. He was terrible. And by the way, I'm also adding the shitty opponent involved in this too. We're talking about the 28th worst pass defense in pro football. By the way, Zander, what happened to that vaunted defensive front line of the Eagles in stopping the run? Because I'll tell you what,
they were manhandled.
Carolina was one of the worst rushing attack teams in all of football. They didn't come to play today, man. I mean, they just did not come to play. They thought they were going to throw their helmets on the field. And this is the first game in this stretch, Zander. And get this. This is the worst game in the 9-game stretch that they have had where you went like this. Holy shit, they got issues going into the postseason. And when you're going to play against a better team, your quarterback is a deficiency. Bryce Young outplayed Jalen Hurts today.
No doubt.
He was a better ball.
Bryce Young was great. Listen, Bryce Young doesn't have a big target downfield. It's very evident that they're missing the big target downfield. And when Leggett did get open, he couldn't even corral the ball. I think he had 3 or 4 drops today. And they're relying on a 34 or 35-year-old Adam Thielen, who had a great game today, but they don't have the weapons. And Bryce Young, sliced and diced them. He nearly went 100 yards on that last drive if Leggett had caught that ball, 98-yard drive to seal it. But I want to get back into Jalen Hurts. So I think he's the lead story in this game. I really do. And I'm not. What are you seeing from him right now? Because to me, it looks like as good as the offense has been, as great as our running attack has been, it almost looks like a reversion to 2021 Jalen, where he was so confident running the ball, but the passing game just was not there. It's not there anymore. What has happened? What are you seeing with Jalen Hurts?
Didn't you hear also, even Mark Sanchez saying they're wide open throws? There's wide open throws that he's missing. Hey, dude, when they had to rely, because they did the Philadelphia Eagles had 209 yards rushing. You never know it. I mean, if you think about it, if you count the sacks, they had 83 yards passing. If you put the sacks in and you look at the team statistics, do you want to hear this, Zander? They had passing 83 yards of passing offense when you minus all the sacks that Jalen Hurts took in this ball game here. I mean, 83 yards, and you had 200 yards of rushing offense. Why are you not sticking with that? And to your point, when you're asking the catcher, what's wrong? Well, Kellen Moore has not improved the passing game. End of story. End of story. He has not improved it. The offense has been improved, and I've been banging on this for 3 fucking months. He has not improved it. The quarterback is regressing. And by the way, he's seeing the blitzes. Bullshit. He's taking more sacks. That was his 32nd sack that he has taken this year. Last year, he took 36 sacks. He's going to blow that away. That guy was terrible today versus an awful team. How do you think that's going to look when you play the Kansas City Chiefs? If you're fortunate enough to get into a Super Bowl, they will put 50 on you.
The Chiefs. Forget the Chiefs. We're not going to get to the Chiefs.
Shit, you're not going to get by Minnesota.
Exactly. You're not getting by the Packers, Minnesota, Detroit. You might not even get by the Baker Mayfield-led Bucks for crying out loud. I mean, that was brutal.
Awful performance.
I mean, their defense was ranked 31st in run defense and 28th or 29th. This was a bottom 5, and offensively bottom 5 and everything too. They're bottom 5 and everything. I didn't think the defense looked that good today. I didn't think the offense looked very good today.
How about
just an all-around bad game for the Eagles?
How about this? I told you that you were going to get the Super Bowl performance of the year by the Panthers, and you did. This is the best, Zander. This is the best they can play. Do you understand how, like John McMullen, I heard him during the week with you. They have nothing to offer with their defensive tackles. They have nothing. And they were putting pressure on Hurts the entire game. By the way, I think he hurts the O-line in pass protection because he's moving fucking too much around. And by the way, stop moving to your right. You're predictable. Every goddamn time they pressure him, rolling right. That offense, seriously, I was goofing on it saying that it reminded me of the Army offense. Dude, if that guy doesn't make plays with his wheels, he is below average as a player. Dude, I think he's a good player, Jalen Hurts. But I do not think he is one of your better quarterbacks in pro. Dude, you struggled today. That's his worst game of the year so far. And again, versus the worst team of the year. You add that up.
Now, you said something about Kellen Moore in the passing game, and I agree. It hasn't been improved. Are you putting that on Kellen or Jalen?
Because because the things that they're doing right now, they're doing so much to try to improve the passing game. And I see these fucking idiots in here with 11-2. You keep throwing records at yourselves, you're going to come up with no medals at the end of it. It fucking doesn't matter if you're 11-2. At the end of it, if you can't cash it in, you've got two superstars on that football team, A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley. The rest of them are non-factors, and that includes your quarterback. I'm more convinced than ever. A game like that now puts me once again in the position where my convictions are right. That fucking guy is not good enough to win a Super Bowl.
14-21 today, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns for Jalen. Certainly, I think it was his worst game of the year by far. I think he looked lost in every area.
Not counting his rookie starting year in 21. That's the worst I've seen him in a 2-year span.
What about Jake Elliott? What are you doing about Jake Elliott? Have we reached a point here where it's worth considering bringing in another kicker?
You're too late in the process right now, dude. You're too late in it. You know, if you were going to make a decision on this guy, you had to have done this. Are you really – get this. Zander, this is what you don't want to have happen again like last year when you made these off-the-wall knee-jerk reaction moves where you're sitting there. Dude, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying, though, don't you think with 5 games remaining or how many games they have remaining here, don't you think that's a little late in the process here to be looking for a clutch kicker as you're going to – so you're going to can the guy, your quarterback's playing like shit at the passing game, and you're going to go into the postseason wanting to play against Detroit, who has everything on all cylinders going, or maybe, how about this? Maybe even Minnesota. You really have to not panic in this. Hey, is he a problem? No doubt about it. No question.
He's 0 for 5 on 50-plus yards. He hasn't hit one kick this year of 50-plus yards.
Get this. I just saw what's his name say, well, you know, Kansas City struggle. Kansas City is not as good a roster as you. Kansas City doesn't have the offensive firepower you do. They don't have A.J. Brown. They don't have Saquon Barkley. They don't have any of those players like you have. It's such a fucking flawed conversation with Josh Allen, with anytime you match up the Eagles versus any other team. You know why? It's your fucking quarterback. He doesn't match the talent you have in your huddle. Okay? You say Kansas City. Yeah. They beat people with dudes at the perimeter. Who's their running back? a guy who hadn't played all year long in Kareem Hunt. They win games. That quarterback in Kansas City carries his team. That quarterback in Buffalo carries his team. And by the way, stop comparing yourself to a champion. You're not.
Moving into the Eagles defense today, Sills, you brought it up. That was Bryce Young. I mean, Bryce Young looked pretty damn good out there today. What'd you see from the Eagles defense? They've been the number one defense all year long. I think they're a big reason we've been able to run the ball so effectively and been able to stick to that on the offensive side of the ball. What'd you see from the defense today? They did not wow me, and you brought up what stood out the most. The D-line got terrorized by that Panthers O-line today for most of the game.
Absolutely. They threw the ball for over 200 yards, and they ran the ball. How in the world does Carolina run the ball like that? I mean, how do they ran the ball? By the way, not only that, but Carolina held the Eagle offense to 56 plays. Do you realize how good that is? By the way, Carolina played to their average. The Eagles played down in every aspect. Get this in this game against the shitty 3-win Panthers. More first downs, more total yardage, more passing yards. They were killed by running, and I don't know why the Eagles got away from that. And when you're talking about sacks, they did a great job in sacking the quarterback. They only surrendered one. The Eagles had 4 sacks in the ball game. Okay? The Eagle defense didn't do that bad a job. 288 yards in total off defense they give up every game. They gave up 302. Okay. They give up about 100 yards in rushing. Okay, they gave up 118. Zander, this came down to the offense shitting the bed in this ball game and allowing those possessions on the other side. The Eagle defense really didn't play all that awful when you look at their numbers and what they've done all year long. At the end of the day, this was the offense shitting the bed.
Yeah, and which is weird because Saquon Barkley had 124 yards. Jalen Hurts had another 60 on the ground. You're looking at 209 rushing yards. So for the people who said our rushing attack is going to be enough, well, you ran the ball for 209 yards today, had 22 points on the board against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I don't see how people can look at this and say, okay, this is a good transitive game. Our team looks like we can hang with the best. We don't look like that. We don't look like that. I think, and quite frankly, Sales, I think you're being nice. I think you're being soft on them. I mean, from a guy who rips them all the time, I think this team is so rippable today. It's unbelievable how shitty they looked versus the Panthers. And I think there's so many permeating problems that could become late in the year.
I don't know how anymore I can go knee deep into somebody versus a 3-win team. Yeah. It's embarrassing. I'm not sure how much more you can say. The quarterback stunk. The offense was terrible. The play calling was terrible. Special teams outside of Elliott was excellent again. By the way, the game, you know what the game-saving play was? The final fucking punt that put the ball down inside the 5-yard line. That was the game right there.
And they still almost overcame that.
Absolutely. If they would have had a normal possession where they were on the 30, they win that bitch.
Dude, if Xavier Legette just had hands and caught that ball, he was wide open. That would have been a touchdown.
Dude, it reminded me a lot of the Jaguar game, how they left that guy with an opportunity to win. They made a poor play at the end of the game. No question about it. Carolina doesn't have near the talent. No, they were last possession. Remember what I said, Xander? Last thing I said. Carolina wants this thing to be a fourth quarter football game, and they want to have an opportunity to win it in the fourth quarter, and they had the opportunity to win it in the fourth quarter. How about them stopping them on third down, too? When they were on the plus side of the field, Hurts takes the sack, they have to fucking punt it.
I know.
I mean, that was how do you not pick that up with the guy who's right now in possession of becoming the all-time leading rusher in Eagle history? How do you not pick that up?
By the way, shout out to Saquon Barkley, who did become the leading rusher in Eagles history. Pretty cool to see him do that. For those looking for the jersey giveaway, 1 yard short, everybody, 124 yards today for Saquon Barkley. Sills, you know what stood out to me also today? You're missing Brandon Graham on this football team. Those edges were not good today. And
Nolan Smith was annihilated today.
He was annihilated. But you know what else? The intangible of Brandon Graham was also missed today, where your defense is tired. He's all juiced up. bringing you the energy, bringing you what he brings in the veteran leadership. That was missed today. I thought clearly on the edges.
Absolutely. You even heard Mark Sanchez pointed out a couple times, you've got to be stouter at the edge like that, more than that, because he was getting blown off the ball. Here's my fear on what's going to happen. Okay? I think what's going to happen is that young kid's going to get worn out because of the amount of plays and reps and tonnage that he's going to have to play. By the way, where was Josh Sweat? I mean, I saw a sighting and then he went away. They were running right at Nolan Smith. Right at Nolan Smith. Make no mistake about it, dude. That's how they were getting those positive yardage. I was shocked. Hey, fat ass, get off it. Jordan Davis, show me more. Let's go.
Yeah, he did not look good today. He was getting no penetration on the front. I thought Jalen Carter was good again, but
Yes.
the sky's blue. I mean, Jalen Carter's going to be great. We need more than just Jalen Carter on that defensive line to make a run here late in the game.
And this just in, Adam Thielen destroyed Cooper DeJean today. Completely destroyed him. Hey, young kid, welcome to the NFL. You were owned today by a 35-year-old wide receiver who's experienced and knows what he's doing. That guy was chasing his back pocket the entire ball game.
Yeah, Adam Thielen had a hell of a game, and that was probably Cooper DeJean's worst game also as a pro today. He did. You're right, Sills. There, and even John pointed out at halftime that throw where that Bryce Young threw an interception. Cooper DeJean was beat on that. Bryce Young overthrew him, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson picked it off. But that could have been another big play there on Cooper.
Let me give you a good note here. Zander, put a number down on a piece of paper right now on how much money you're gonna have to pay Zach Bond, because fucking again, unbelievable performance by him.
I got 13 to 15 million.
Dude, he is so good that he might just change the entire landscape. That he might just be the All-Pro starting linebacker. He was phenomenal. He was sensational. He was all over the field. I'll tell you this, Xander. That's the best linebacking performance I have seen by a Philadelphia Eagle linebacker since Seth Joyner. This guy is out of hand good. Holy shit, pass rushing. How about the fact and how he runs guys down to the sidelines in pursuit? Dude, New Orleans didn't know this? That's embarrassing. That guy continues to shine. And you know what? He's getting better and better and better and better every week. I thought Dean didn't play bad. I thought he played another good ball game here today, too. I didn't think he was all that bad. Remember something, Xander. The defense at the end of the day didn't really get off their numbers. Around 100 yards, they gave up 118. They gave up 280, 290 in total yards. They only gave up like 200 yards and 300 yards in total offense, 20 more. It wasn't terrible. It was the complete incompetence of the offense, giving too many freaking 3-and-outs. Do you understand this? The Eagles only had 9 series. And in those 9 series, there were a ton of 3-and-outs. That comes down to taking sack. Remember when our friend from the Inquirer, Marcus Hayes, said taking a sack is not like a turnover? Don't those sacks start to feel like turnovers now when you're turning it over and you got to kick it back to the other team? That was my point with him. They feel like turnovers.
What'd you think of that clock management there, by the way, when they gave the ball ultimately? Now, it turned out to be good because the punt went down to the 2-yard line, but they were at a 54-yard field goal range. They decided to line up on 4th down. Then they took the penalty for delay of game, trying to get him to jump offside. Then they decided to punt. I was like, boy, a field goal here makes it a 2-possession game. The game's over. What'd you think of that series?
I'm not giving Elliott a 53-yard
opportunity.
There.
Too short of a field for the Panthers.
And too much of a risk because of the way he's performing right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
If Elliott had been performing better, Xander, I'm okay with what he did. By the way, think about what Nick did here. I shit on him. You know what, Xander? That penalty probably put it inside the 5.
That's
because
true.
It pushed it back and the punter had more room
and
had the ability to get down there. I don't know who it was. I think it was Avonte Maddox or somebody got down there.
Maddox. Yeah, it was Maddox.
And stop that inside the 5. You've got to give Nick his kudos there on that one, because taking the penalty, think about it. If they don't take the penalty and punt it, they punt it in the end zone. and he gets the ball at the 30. So it's a different world. So that worked out well for them.
83 net passing yards today against the Panthers, the 28th ranked.
Or 28th.
How do we fix this, Sills?
You can't.
We can't. We got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, top 5 offensive line. What do you mean we can't fix this?
I told you from day one, he's not good enough to fix this. He will never be that guy. You need to run more RPOs. Stick to the RPOs. He's excellent at that. Stop pretending on who he is and who he's not. He's not a pocket guy. By the way, don't you think 32 sacks with 5 to go is a lot?
It is. It is a lot.
He had 36 all last year. He's going to go over 40-something sacks this year. Those are minus plays that he's putting his team in when he does that. Those are the essential of like missing passes and turnovers. They're hiding his turnovers with sacks. Okay? They're hiding his turnovers with sacks. I'm telling you, dog, run the ball. You ran the ball for 209 and you didn't feel it, did you? You didn't feel that. You dominated
the rushing offense today.
You dominated the Panthers at the point of attack with the O-line. But you know what? Why doesn't it feel that way?
It certainly doesn't. I mean, like I said, 201 yards today. That was the textbook Eagles game, right? 100-plus passing yards, 200 on the ground, and that's where apparently we were going to beat every team this year. Well, it barely worked today versus the Panthers, and you can see how if you keep a game close, that's what changes the scales a lot in these games. Now, Adam Thielen today, 9 receptions, 102 yards for the 34-year-old veteran in his 6th game of the year. Comes out, and I thought he shredded the Eagles' defense all day today, namely Cooper DeJean, and you brought him up. We did get a super chat about him. I'll try and read that now. Yeah, Dober's Army checks in. Unfortunately, Sills' fave, Cooper got worked all game by Thielen, even in the blocking game. Meanwhile, Quinion locked it down again. Quinion was good. He didn't get picked on at all today, but who's picking on Quinion, Dobers? I mean, they don't have anybody over there. That Xavier Legette guy, everybody talks him up like he's this great player. I saw him.
By the way, if he would have made his catches, he would have owned him too.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, remember, that guy's got hands of stone, that kid. If that kid catches his passes, they catch the game winner on him.
Let's read a couple more super chats here. Josh Herman checks in. Sills, talk to these people, please. I don't want to hear any silver linings. Rip some ass. Josh is not happy with his Eagles today. Laura checks in.
Again, the offense is regressing. Get this. You're more predictable now, Josh, than you were last year. You're 10 times more predictable than you were last year. The only difference that they're trying to do now is that they are trying to put those you know what, Zander? They are trying to put those RPOs in as fast as they possibly can on that offense because they know that how many times, dude, A.J. Brown was open 5 or 6 times today, and Hurts missed them every time. I don't know how many times Mark Sanchez said that in the telecast.
Mark was drilling into that.
Field.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez was drilling into Hurts on missing A.J. Brown. Laura checks in. No one better argue with Sills anymore. Hurts is why that game was even close. He's the reason we won't win a Super Bowl. So, Laura, feeling similar to how you're feeling about Jalen Hurts. That was certainly an uninspiring performance there, Big Sills.
Absolutely. And again, you asked the question, how can you fix it? Fix it how? Fix it the thing that he does the best and go to 22? That's how you fix it. What they do, they're still so stubborn. And the first 15 to 25 plays is all you need to know about Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff. Why are you can't perform against bad teams. You can't perform against good teams with the first 25 plays. It's something you're doing, Zander. Zander, it's something they're doing as a coaching staff. Don't you not agree? Whether it's the Panthers or the Ravens, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's something they're doing that gets these teams. Here, get this. You got out to slow start. Dude, if it wasn't for that Bryce Young interception going into halftime, the Carolina Panthers outplayed them in the first half and that complete momentum going into halftime.
Yep. You're 100% right. I said that on the halftime show. Brian Pumper checks in. Big Brian Pumper, all you Hurtsy, Squirtsy fangirls are done. Watch your hero take a stupid sack and delay on the last drive. Respect Brian Pumper. Brian followed up and said, how are these clowns praising banana pudding? That was a touchdown if Leggett held the ball. I got smoked for all you Hurts guys. Yeah, Darius Slay made obviously the big play to end the game, but I thought he got picked on a lot today. And I've been protecting Slay with you on the shows this year, but he was burnt toast a lot today.
How about this? I saw people because he made some pretty good plays.
He made a big play at the end of the game. You got to give him credit for that. That
he made two actually. He actually made two big plays.
Yes, the tackle,
the ball game. But if you put his play in context and put his plays for the game, how many times did they target him, and how many times did he get penalties on him because guys were getting past him? I mean, dude, it looked like he was a liability out there. Then he makes these two plays at the end of the game, and he pushes that narrative back. But I got to tell you, Zander, as we're getting more and further closer towards the end of the year, do you remember the prediction I made? I told you that guy would be out of gas by the playoffs. Well, I don't think I'm going to be wrong here with this guy, because he surely looks like he's running out of gas.
Yeah, you're right. Every play seems to take a toll on his body, and it's interesting. We'll see how it happens. John checks in. If Dallas goes 7-7, they're beating the Eagles along with Washington. The season is over. Come on, John. Let's not overreact. Dallas is still alive. Count your days, Jalen. Just like 23.
Hey, John, you're missing my criticism today. My criticism is your Eagles are this close to winning a Super Bowl. Okay, with performances like that, you become this. The Cowboys are a Grand Canyon away from being a competitive team. Now, to John's point, though, not to shit on you, John, Cowboys have more talent than Carolina. Okay? Not at the quarterback position, though. Not at the QB position. Remember, Bryce Young played well today. I'll tell you this. Hey, Zander, they have fucked that kid up. He's not bad. Bryce Young is not bad. He just needs some more talent around him. Get him another tight end. Get him dude. He's throwing to a 35-year-old wide receiver, and he almost beat the Eagles with a 35-year-old wide receiver.
Rodney Burton checks in with what is CHF, like a Swiss franc or something? Interesting currency there. He checks in. Jalen had 3 touchdowns. It's the goddamn NFL. Chiefs beat them by 3. Xander, in the beginning of the week, John called the game a scrimmage. They were trying some different things. Hurts did a few bad reads in the RPO. My QB and coach are winners. Hey, listen, Rodney, you're certainly entitled to feel that way, but we got to come up here and do a talk show every day where we're going to analyze the game. That was an ugly football game, my friend. And in fact, you bring up something that's alarming. The minute they try anything different, it looks like that.
That's so stupid of a take right there. I appreciate what you're doing there, and we thank you very much. But that's the NFL, a quarterback throwing for 70, 80 yards and having drives stop with his inconsistency in the play. And by the way, Rodney, nobody's ever said to Jalen Hurts, can't run the ball. That's the only thing he does well, is that he's okay throwing it. And he's okay throwing it to single coverage guys. Dude, he's a good football player. But at the end of the day, he is not a quarterback that you're going to win he's not going to pull a Nick Foles and win you 3 football games in a row, carrying a team on his back to win a Super Bowl. He's just not.
He said, followed up, it was ugly. I mean, games are difficult. I hear you, Rodney, and I appreciate your support of the channel, brother, and you're certainly entitled to feel that way about your team. I, to be honest with you, have a little bit more concerns than you do moving in here. Let's get to we're going to get to our first commercial break. Before we do that, I just want to give you the floor here. 30 minutes now settled into this thing. A nail-biter finish, 22-16, the 9th straight win for the Eagles. Just your thoughts here to wrap up this first segment on what the Eagles did today.
They were terrible. It was the worst performance in 2 years. Everything that you were hoping they wouldn't do, they did. Played down to their competition, sputtered on offense, shit the bed in the first quarter. The quarterback was inept, not competent enough to win you that game. That game was won because of the running attack, the 209 that they ran. Outside of that, that passing game reared its head today. The defense, at the end of the day, made plays when it had to. They weren't awful still. They gave up. You got to remember, like I said, Carolina was one of the worst offenses and one of the worst defenses in pro football. and you made it a 4-quarter football game against another shitty team. You now have on your resume, you played into a fourth quarter to the 59th minute against Jacksonville and Carolina. You're not winning a Super Bowl playing that type of ability when you had that on the other side of the ball and think you are going to beat Detroit in an NFC title game. Not happening.
Coming up later on in the show, we'll have John McMullen join live from Lincoln Financial Field. I'm curious to hear what Johnny Mac has to say about this game. It was an ugly one, and I think Sileo has rightly ripped into this team in all the right spots, and I'm feeling, quite frankly, the same way he is. So we'll get to our first commercial break. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Hit that like button. When we return, we will get to more super chats. We'll discuss this defense, the offense, what's going on with the offense, if they can get it turned around. More breakdown of the game that ensued today. 9th straight win for the Eagles. We'll do all that next in the JAKIB Postgame Show. Coming up next.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in here to the JAKIB Postgame Show here on JAKIB Sports. Appreciate everybody tuning in right now. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We do appreciate all the support today. Birds get their 9th straight win, and they win 22-16 in a nail-biter, and really several opportunities to lose the game at the end. Xavier Legette dropped a big pass on the way into the end zone in the last minute of the game that would have given the Panthers the tie with a chance to take the lead, and ultimately the Eagles prevail and get the win today. Big Sills, it's a lot of storylines today with Jalen Hurts, Jake Elliott. We hit them all. What's the most concerning to you as we go into this latter half of the year now? It's week 15 now. I mean, this was a week 14 game. You're now in the final stretch, right? Everybody says football starts after Thanksgiving. Well, we are there. We are here. Where are your concerns lie right now after watching that one?
Play calling and pass offense. And I'll tell you why play calling. What are you doing in the first quarter? What are you doing that you're putting your team at a deficit when it comes to plays and scripted plays, and then your passing game? You have no rhythm. This was a game where you were hoping. Get this, too. What I really love about some of the Eagle fans we were talking to this week, they were talking 45-10. They were doing – I thought. Same thing. I'm not saying that. But we all thought that this was going to be something that you could start working on some continuity as you got ready to play Washington, maybe Dallas being still competitive, and obviously Pittsburgh this coming week, right? People were going to think, well, shit, dude, you had to play 60 minutes to get out of there alive. And you decided to just throw your helmet on the field, and you thought Carolina was going to fold their armchair. They didn't. They showed up. Welcome to the NFL. A lot of things were exposed today. You know what was exposed? Hurts taking sacks, Hurts missing wide open receivers. But the play calling at the first quarter, and I would even say this: how about that sack or that last possession that they had? Where was it a sack or was it? Oh, I know what it was. The clock ran out. What the fuck were you doing at the end of the ball game where the clock ran out on you with Jalen Hurts there? Do you know how bad that was after that incomplete pass? You gave him a free timeout with that. Dude, the whole thing, the play calling, the quarterback play, everything, in my opinion, it was really, you beat them because of what I always say Nick Sirianni benefits from. You have a better roster.
Yeah. I mean, this is where people hate the quarterback as a win stat thing, and I understand where people come from. This is a win for Jalen Hurts today. Yeah. Is that a winning performance from a quarterback today? I mean, I didn't see a winning performance from a quarterback today. If somebody wants to lie or if somebody believes that it was, then maybe that's we just have a different thought process.
What they'll do is they'll continue to make excuses up for the guy's inability to be able to be a quarterback that can win through the air. And one thing he's not. And so you ask one more time, how do you fix it? Well, you don't. You start running more RPOs. Because would we not agree, Zander? When you look at Jalen Hurts' numbers today, he was more effective with the 8 carries for 59 yards in the TD than he was for the 14 to 21, 108 and the 2 TDs. Don't you agree?
No, it's
that third down. That third down he picked up, that 3rd and 12, whatever it was, that he picked up. That was
it's all off script, right? It's not particularly close. Where the answer to your question, yes,
right. I mean, when the both of those men run the ball, Barkley and Hurts, they're unstoppable. When they start farting around, throwing the ball around, and they start doing that shit, and if AJ's not open, dude, Carolina's so bad in the secondary. Dude, they had a second team guy out there covering AJ, and they were still in a 59-minute game. I don't get it. I don't know how anybody walks away from that going, hey, you know what? If you took a lot away from the Ravens game, how can you play the way you did against the Ravens and turn around and put that shit performance up?
Doesn't make sense. You know what's concerning to me too is, and you just said it, you play best when Jalen and AJ both run. Well, they both had yards today. They both got around their number. So Saquon had 20 carries for 124. That's right in the ballpark of where he's been. Jalen had 8 carries for 60. That's right in the ballpark of where we want Jalen. So it's like if both of them ran like we want them to run, which is what makes our team successful, and today it looked like it did, what's the shift? What's the difference in this game versus the Ravens game?
Let me ask you this question. I'll answer that here in a second with a follow-up here with this. I ask you this every week. Zander, do you believe you can win a Super Bowl with this style of play? This is the kind of games you get sometimes, Zander, when guess what? You're going to have to get more out of your passing game. The Panthers showed you that, get this, you're going to need to get more out of your passing game if things aren't clicking. By the way, they were clicking to 206. You had 200 fucking yards rushing. That's unbelievable in any aspect. But guess what? It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. By the way, it was almost not enough to get that win. Because why? You were turning the ball. You were turning the ball over on sacks and the fact that you were having 3 and outs. Dude, you kept Carolina in the game. Why? Well, because the quarterback and the offense couldn't, once they started to throw the ball, they were giving possessions away. Do you know that? I mean, like I say, Carolina had more plays than the Eagles. How's that possible? Carolina has nowhere near Zander. There's nobody on that offensive football team that could play in Philly's offense. They don't have one player that could play in that offense. Not one. If Adam Thielen is your number one guy, he ain't taking over for AJ and being the number. There's not one.
I'll tell you what, I like that Chuba Hubbard. That guy makes the first defender miss. He fights for yards. He runs hungry and hard. Hey, that's a good player, man.
Let me tell you something about Barkley. So, when you look at Barkley, man, he's starting to give me a little bit of Emmitt Smith shit here. So he had 20 carries for 124. I went like this. That guy had 124 yards today. Holy shit, man. It didn't look it. I thought he struggled a little bit. And you look up, you're like, hang on, Sills, he had 7 yards of carry.
Yeah, 6.
That's not struggling. I went, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's impressive what he's doing this year. Passed LaShawn McCoy today for the most yards.
Kudos to that. Kudos.
Yeah, very cool. And third did it in 13 games, really 12 and a half games. So very impressive stuff for Saquon Barkley here in this game. So I got a question for you. What would be your remark to somebody? And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of this, and I'm sure there's already a bunch of it in our chat. What's your remark to somebody that says, don't think too much about this game. You got the win. Get out of there put the win in the column and move on to next week. Don't read too much into it. It's an NFL game. Like, that's going to be the line of thinking this week in Philly with the fan base of don't put too much into it. We know who we are as a team. We've beaten teams like the Ravens and the Commanders and good teams in the NFL. What's the response to that? How do you reason with somebody who thinks that?
I knew this performance was coming. I just didn't know it would be against Carolina. I knew this was coming because you're going to have – John knows this. We know this because the passing game is nowhere to be seen. Okay? It's nowhere to be seen. Dude, more of these games are coming. Okay? Zander, more of these games are coming. You might get into a playoff game, Zander, where you run the ball for 225 yards against the Lions, and they beat you 38-20. You know why? They were able to make plays in the passing game.
Right.
They were able to do that and make play. Hey, you stop the passing game, and guess what? The Carolina Panthers stopped the vaunted Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown passing game. They still gave up 200 yards on the ground, and they had the ball in their hand to win it. And guess what? I saw somebody over here make a comment. They go, not every game looks the same. When you're trying to win games the same, yes, they do. Yes, they do. This is what you do. You do the things the same. I said it last week to Zander. Hey, you're doing one thing week in and week out. You're running the ball. You're not throwing it. Every game is going to look the same when you're a one-dimensional football team. And that's what the Eagles are. They're one-dimensional. By the way, do you know why I'm so aggravated? It's because that team has the second worst roster of players in pro football. And you couldn't put that team away. You did not put that team away.
Couldn't put that team away. We almost lost to that team if it wasn't for Xavier Legette dropping a deep ball that was dropped right in his hands on a busted coverage.
They couldn't put that team away. How are you not able to put Carolina away? If you can't fucking put Carolina away, don't talk to me about not having to have a balanced offense. More of these games are coming, friends. More of them. Get prepared. By the way, you got Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts running the ball. Yes, that's going to, no question, always keep you around the rim and winning ball games. Zander, tell me how bad this would be. You go 15-2. You get into a game against Detroit or Minnesota, who has a 10-time better defense and has given up one more point than you have defensively. and they stop you and your offensive running attack. Hey, get this. Don't talk to me about stopping your offense. Carolina did today. You're telling me Minnesota can't? Minnesota's superior to Carolina.
By the way, did Minnesota win their game today? They were in a nail biter.
Because of their offense and their quarterback. I wouldn't doubt they dropped it.
Let's see if the Vikings won
I'm in a position with Minnesota, Zander, that I'm not really – they ended up winning 42-21.
Wow, 21 fourth-quarter points for the Minnesota Vikings. Apparently not a nail-biter. I thought they should have a highlight. It was like 21-21. I'm like, what the –
Darnold had 5 touchdowns in that ball game, and he was 20 – get this. Sam Darnold was 22 of 28 for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns in that ball game, okay? Against a football team that beat you. And they had 115, get this, they had 115 yards rushing. They had 433 yards of total offense versus the Falcons. Okay? So Minnesota is now 11-2. Is that correct?
Minnesota's 11-2, yep. And if they win out, they would actually get the 1 seed over the Eagles. They have the first tiebreaker with us, which I forget what it is.
I believe they still have Detroit on that schedule, though.
They do. They're probably going to lose again. They do have Detroit. You're right about that. But I'm just saying, in the scenarios that we both won out, everybody's worried about Detroit. We also need the Vikings to lose a game as well. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's read a couple super chats here. Appreciate everybody checking in. Rodney followed up, by the way. He said, Big Sills is my guy. So all in good fun. We appreciate you, Rodney. That's our kind of sports talk viewer, man. A guy who can disagree and enjoy the show and not be a cisspot about it. Yeah.
That's the people I love to talk to.
Yeah, agreed. Not the people who can't handle a different opinion. John says, this is the same shit from last season when Casey and Buffalo dropped the game winner. Same shit, different year. Like I said, get ready for the meltdown. John is fully out on this team. I'm not ready to be out. I don't
believe there's a meltdown. I think the coordinators – I'll tell you what, I've never seen Vic Fangio more pissed off in the booth today than I saw him, especially with that secondary. And by the way, Cooper DeJean, like we said, was completely schooled today and turned around numerous times in that secondary. And by the way, like I said, I think Slay made some nice plays, but I think they targeted him the entire day. And Bryce Young was able to move the chains. And how many fourth down conversions did Carolina make versus the Eagles?
I feel like every time they had a big play, Adam Thielen was right there to make a catch. What, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the and on the fourth down conversions too, man. I mean, think about this. They were 3 of 5 on third down. I mean, that's what keeps sticks moving. And that's because you play zone defense.
Rodney Burton checks in again. I agree with you, Sills, but on the other hand, you can't kill Saquon and Hurts. Also can't run too many times, dual threat. This is on the whole offense, the passing game. Give a suggestion. I tried, Rodney. Sills doesn't see one.
Hey, give a suggestion. Stop doing what you're doing in the first fucking quarter. Run those RPOs, Rodney. More of them. Rodney, Zander, everyone. How many times have I told you, if you want to sell me Jalen Hurts 22 running those RPOs, you're going to win. But if you're going to try passing from the pocket, he's going to take sacks. He's going to take minus yards. Right now, the only thing, can you imagine, Zander, if he was still fucking turning the ball over, what a disaster this would be? You know why that's why Mark Sanchez knows what he's doing. You know what he's doing? He's holding the ball. How many times does he roll right, throw it out of bounds? You know why? He doesn't want to turn the ball over. It's a smart play. I'm not saying don't throw it out of bounds. But, dude, Bryce Young tried forcing that fucker in there, and that's what cost him. There was the difference in the game, in my opinion, really one of them was that punt and that second quarter late pick by Bryce Young. That's where the two crucial plays in the game for me that turned the tide for the Eagles.
Yeah, that pick by Bryce, man, that was terrible. As good as he played today, that was a bad pick at a bad time. That turned the game in the Eagles' favor when he did that. Yeah,
it stopped Carolina's momentum.
Yeah, because they were playing exactly as you want to play versus the Eagles. They were having long, sustained drives, and then that turnover came, and the Birds had the chance to go 2 for 1 after the halftime. Corey Bazan checks in. What I can't figure out is how Steichen had Jalen at least looking decent in the passing game. I didn't want to believe it, but Jalen and Moore may hold us back. It's a shame. I don't know the answer to that other than that they were in a more simplified RPO offense in 22.
No one had seen it.
And Hurts only had to read half the field there, right? I mean, I guess that's something you have to factor in today or in this offense this year.
But Zander, they're just like you get with a picture. You got a book on them. Here's Jalen Hurts. He's average in the pocket. He doesn't really read defenses. He rolls right every time he's pressured. And guess what? He fucks his O-lineman by moving around too much in the pocket, which creates those sacks. Hey, they got to stop him from doing that. The O-line's giving him time. Either get rid of it or run. That's the shit last week that Lamar didn't do. Fucking take off. Take off. Get the positive yards. Don't take the freaking sack that takes you out of field position. Dude, holy shit. Hey, I got to give it to Nick one more time. He took the penalty. They punted it, put it in the 5. There was your game.
Said he checks in. He says, we drafted Hurts to be a backup and we gave him $50 million. That's scathing right there.
Well, he's not a backup.
No, he's not.
He's not. Dude, look, he's a very talented football player. And you know what? I would be, if I was, just so you guys know, if I was covering the Ravens more and I was covering that team, I would be just as hard on that dude as I am on Jalen Hurts too. So I hope you understand that. Those MVPs to me sometimes, they're kind of like merit badges on a Boy Scout's belt. I don't fucking care. I want to know what kind of player you are in the postseason. I would be hard on him too. Okay? And somebody goes like this. I saw this. You guys make it sound like the Panthers are going to the Super Bowl. I saw some asshole say that. Don't. We're not talking about the Panthers. We're talking how close you are to thinking you're a Super Bowl team. I don't think you are, okay, because of your quarterback and your offensive passing game. I don't think you are. You think you are. And one more time, I'm going to continue to hold to my convictions while everybody else will turn around and watch a shit performance like that. Believe me, by the end of the year, you'll all be rolling back towards me.
We'll see how it plays out. C. Saucy checks in. Crazy how this fan base can't hold Jalen accountable. Any decent QB throw him for 300 plus with this firepower on offense. I think that's one of the things that make this so tough is it's not like we're looking at trash cans at wide receiver. We're looking at 2 top 10. There's no other team in the league that has 2 top 10 wide receivers. No one. I mean, we got the best tandem of wide receivers in the NFL.
And running back.
And a quarterback threw for 108 yards today with 25 yards a sack. It's 83 net yards in the passing game. 83 net yards.
It's why you kept Carolina in it. The team that will probably pick, let me see where they are right now when it comes to draft order right now. I want to show you, and I want to put this into context to show you how bad Carolina Panthers are right now. So get this, right now, here is the projected draft order coming up in 25. The New York Giants will be first. The Vegas Raiders will be second. Jacksonville will be third. And right now, Carolina will be fourth. You played a game against a team that's going to have the 4th pick in the NFL draft in April. As of right now.
Now, listen, I hear you. But this Panthers team has been gritty. They played the Chiefs close. They played the Bucs close last week. They lost in overtime, and they were 2-3 in their last 5 after starting whatever it was, very, very bad start. So they have been that kind of, pimple on your ass type of team that's annoying and they can hang around. So I'm not trying to.
I got to give Dave Canales some credit because those players are playing for him right now. Hey, and by the way, after watching Bryce Young today, I'm more encouraged about his future in the NFL. If they could build hey, I'll tell you what, I'd like to see Bryce Young in Philly with that talent. How would he play with that talent if he had Saquon Barkley behind him? Not that Chuba Hubbard is that bad because he's a great-looking young back. But what about if he had hey, let me ask you this. If Bryce Young throws that pass to A.J. Brown down on the end zone, you think A.J. catches that pass at the end of the game?
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah, I got you. We're good. AJ catches that game-winning touchdown pass, right?
Yeah, 100%. No doubt.
I'd like to see I'd like to see Bryce Young in that huddle with that offense. Am I wrong?
Sileo just took gasoline and poured it on. On the fire.
He was the best quarterback on the field today.
Look, everybody's upset because it sounds like we didn't win today. Darrell, was that a good-looking Eagles game to you, Darrell? Is that the kind of team that you want to see fielded each week, Darrell?
You know what Big Sills is doing right now? I'm eating.
You are. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You know what people are trying to convince themselves of right now? That this was just a one-of game. When the passing game has been like this. So remember I told you in the pregame? So, Zander, you believe they're going to pick it up and throw for 350 yards one day, and just when they need it, they're going to flip the switch and throw and go for 350. Do you still believe that?
No. How could I? They haven't showed it in over a year and how long now?
Hey, you want to hear something fucked up? Watch him go against Pittsburgh and put up 280 yards rushing and 322 yards. Dude, that's kind of what they do. That was, you know what? Or here, let's do something to some of these assholes that are in here. Do you give them a pass for this? Do you think it's a one-of?
Well, listen, here's the reality. Because when
they're on a
9-game
win streak, Zander, you're going to get a dog.
Reality. This is the reality. Right now, you're the best team in the NFC East. You're easily going to win your division. You're 11-2. You're clearly getting into the playoffs with a pretty favorable seeding, maybe not the 1 seed.
I think you qualified today. I think you made the playoffs today.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we're going to make the play. I mean, look, come on, we're going to win the East easily, and with the way it's shaping up. So the reality is, the Birds are sitting fine. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. When they get to the playoffs, will they be able to manage playoff football? The differences that it comes with being able to throw the ball, being able to get out of a tight spot. Those are questions I think are more fair. But the reality is, the Birds are fine. I mean, look, you got to win today, right? I mean, it didn't look good, but you did get a win. It doesn't register in the column as a loss.
Hold on, I'm writing something down for you and everyone else.
It says, no way Super Bowl.
No way Super Bowl champions.
No way. Is that what you believe?
I do believe it. I don't believe you have the passing game to do it. Hey, and you know what? I want to ask you one time here. Do you give them, like I said, the pass? You win 9 in a row. You're going to have a clunker somewhere in there.
You don't give them a pass.
Are you okay with that?
Huh?
Are you okay with that?
No, I'm not. But like I said, the reality is that we're still sitting fine. So am I going to turn the page on this? Yes, eventually. In 2 days, we're going to be talking about a different one. We can relax, take a deep breath. We're probably going to, but we got a lot of things we got to fix.
Hey, my friend, Zander says just right now, he goes, we're going to, a couple days, we're going to turn the page. We're going to forget this. Let me tell you something about a cancer. See, when you have cancer in your body, it just doesn't go away. You can treat it. You can do whatever you want. Eventually, there's an end date.
We need another shot of Saquon Barkley.
There's a moccasin on the wall that says, hey, this is the day. Okay? The Eagles have a passing cancer. They can't get out of their own way. That cancer is going to manifest. Zander, it's going to eat away at the offense like it did today. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to wake up one day and go, holy shit, what happened? My offense is in hospice. Holy cow. I mean, and there you were, battling it out with the Carolina Panthers.
It's amazing. I will say, I mean, look, even as an Eagles, it is amazing that you look at a roster that has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, who I know wasn't out there today, even Jahan Dotson. You sent a third-round pick to bring this guy in, and it's like
I saw it.
I saw Saquon Barkley's our whole offense. Our offense is Saquon Barkley and the offensive line. That's it. That's the whole offense.
Did I see a Jahan Dotson sighting today? I thought I saw a catch somewhere out there.
He had one early. He had a little snag early for Jahan.
For 5 yards. That's right. He had that catch for 5 yards. Hey, great third-round pick there, Howie. Yeah, you gave a third-rounder up for that guy? Holy shit. Give me Queasy Watkins back.
Isn't it crazy though to think about that? Think about the litany of weapons you have in the passing game, and we can't even. This passing attack is wait. We were before the game. I read you the bottom 25. Remember? Well, we were right ahead by 1.7 yards above the Panthers.
Oh, they'll have a better passing.
So we're going to drop at least to the Panthers to the 29th.
Oh, at least you may even go down to 30th. Hey, I was kind of kidding with Bryson Daly. Bryson Daly equals Jalen Hurts. It kind of looks the same, man. He plays
Army
a lot like Bryson Daly.
Army's winning games, baby.
There you go. Hey, he's 11-2. Hey, all Bryson Daly does is win. Captain America. There you go, Jalen. He wins games too. Shit, they just won a conference title, 11 ball games. There you go, man. Bryson Daly equals Jalen Hurts. Good night.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We got John McMullen coming up shortly. He's waiting. I think Jalen Hurts is speaking with the media now, and then we'll get John up here.
Why would he be speaking? He didn't do anything in the game.
Yeah, Jalen's up with the media now, so John will be in shortly, right after Jalen Hurts concludes. We'll read a couple super chats now. Oh, here we go. Never mind. We got John now checking in here on the JAKIB Postgame Show. Let me let his connection connect here. And once John, there we go. I got him. I got Big J McMullen. Let's bring him in now here on the JAKIB Postgame Show. Joining us from Lincoln Financial Field, that's John McMullen, the #1 Eagles beat reporter in town, host of Birds 365. Johnny Mac, Birds get the win today. Almost didn't feel like it, John. 22-16. What did you see out there, McMullen?
A lot of ugly offensive football, except for Saquon. So everything they can lean on. By the way, Zander, I think he came 1 yard short.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. So that's disappointing. But I mean, yeah, this passing game is. I don't know why people want to ignore it or whatever. Nick was just talking about it. Like, everybody knows it's got to be fixed. I don't know how it's going to be fixed. They got a quarterback who doesn't pull the trigger, but they keep winning games. I mean, all of his big plays are off schedule. 35-yard run, 15-yard run, 27-yard pass to Devontae Smith. Everything's off schedule. It's like any time when Kellen Moore calls a play and they run it, and it's not a run to Saquon Barkley, it's a flipping disaster for the most part. It's bad. Bryce Young threw for 191 yards today. If it wasn't for Xavier Leggett, you put about 40 more on top of that in a win. And Jalen's thrown for 108 yards or whatever.
And 4 sacks.
It's bad. It's bad. And when you add in the fact you have A.J. Brown, who's open all over the place, and Devontae Smith back. Yeah, you don't have Dallas Goedert, but Grant Calcaterra's making a play here and there. But the guy wins games. I give him that.
John, people were wide open all day long on those slants, and the 4 sacks. Hey, by the way, let me give Nick Sirianni some love here. They take the penalty. They back the unit up. They put the ball. The game's won. They put the ball in the 5-yard line, and they have to go 100 yards. That was a great decision on what they did, because if they didn't take it, they put it in the end zone. Bryce Young scores that touchdown. Let me say something to you, John. That offense, you and I have been both saying this. Kellen Moore has not improved that passing game. I mean, it is, dude, he's covering it up. Do you know he's taken 32 sacks this year now? And he takes his team out of field position with some of those sacks and opportunities. I mean, John, I think they need to run more RPOs to fix it and give themselves the best chance they possibly can by just running it, because he's more effective running it. I mean, I don't know what you're doing with the first. John, how about the first quarter again? Another train wreck. Whether it's the Ravens or it's the Panthers, John, do you not agree? It doesn't matter if it's the Ravens or Panthers or if it's the Giants or if it's Washington. Whatever they're doing schematically and fundamentally is absolutely wrong, because that first quarter, they're the worst first quarter football team in football.
Yeah, and they're 11-2, and they don't play the first quarter basically offensively.
Crazy.
They've had 2 field goals on their first possessions this year. That's it. They had a field goal against Cincinnati, a field goal against the Rams. They've had 18 total first downs on opening drives in 13 games. 18 and 13 games. Yeah, I mean, and Jordan Mailata, for all the people who are going to say, I'm a hater, blah, blah, blah. I get it all the time, but whatever. Jordan Mailata said he felt shitty after the game. It's like, it's a win. I feel stupid, but I feel shitty. Why does he feel shitty? Because they can't throw the ball. They're an NFL team that wins games. Think how good this team would be. It's almost frightening, which was what everyone was expecting. And they can't throw the ball at all, and they still win games.
Hey, John,
108 yards in the modern NFL against a 3-9 team. And
John,
if you're not going to fix it against this team, who are you going to fix it against? Pittsburgh?
John, Les Bowen just tweeted this out, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. He goes, I'm not a Hurts hater, but if there was ever a time for Sirianni to go over to him and demand that he pull his head out of his ass, this would have been the time against the worst defense in football, and Carolina's defense is awful. Do you agree with that?
Well, I like Les's phrasing, but, maybe he's taking it a little bit too far. But, look, what I just said, you almost have to force this team into an issue to where they need to throw the ball to see if they can throw the ball. Like, it's counterintuitive to say that. But, right now, because of the presence of Saquon Barkley and this defense to a certain degree, although the Eagles should have lost this game if Xavier Leggett can catch a damn football. Game's over, basically. They might have came back and got a field goal. 52. I think it would have been about 50 seconds.
Oh, really? With the passing game, they might have come back? I don't know about that, Johnny Mac.
Would have been nice to see because they would have been forced.
I know.
They would have been forced. Right now, it is egregiously bad, the passing offense.
John,
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, and one of the things that's concerning to me in this game is we've been debating, you, me, Sileo, on the show, like, can the Eagles win with this? And I'm like, well, when your defense is this great and your running game is this great, sure, I think you can. They had 209 rushing yards today, John. It's not like the running game didn't work today and it all piled up.
The running game was great.
Running game is great. So if your running game is great, your defense, I didn't think they were great today, but they didn't. It's not like they gave up 30 points. They gave up 16 points. And you have a game this close with the Carolina Panthers. That shows you how small your margin for error is, John.
Yeah, I talk about it all the time. Yeah. What did Detroit score against Green Bay? What was the score of that game? I forget. It was.
I think it was a 3-point. I think it came down to
34-31. 34-31.
So it was 34-31. That's the 12-1 team got to put up 34 points. Minnesota moved to 11-2 along with Philadelphia.
Put a 40 burger up.
They put up 42 points. Sam Darnold threw for 5 touchdowns. I mean, if a team like that comes in with those receivers and starts throwing the ball, what are you going to do? Say, well, we're going to sit there and be patient with Saquon, even if Saquon has a 150-yard game?
That's not enough, John. We proved it. John, they proved it today that 209 yards rushing was not enough to keep a 3-win ball team off your ass. Like you just said, what are you going to do with an 11 or 12 or 14-win team when they have the balance like Detroit has or the ability to run the ball and throw it like Green Bay does? Josh Jacobs can run the ball. He ran it in the first game against the Eagles.
He's great.
I mean,
he's great.
He's having a great year, too. You are not winning those. John, it's funny. I think it's in our deliveries or something. I think we've been saying the same thing, that there's not a chance in hell when you get into the postseason and you go against Brian Flores and they slow you down in your passing game, same way Todd Bowles does, and that other team on the other side, look at what Adam Thielen did. You want to know what a classroom exhibition is? Adam Thielen's a 35-year-old wide receiver. He took that.
It's unbelievable, by the way. I used to cover it. He's unfreaking believable.
Hey, he took Cooper DeJean to school today.
He's the best route runner in the NFL still at age 34, 35. And he did. But you know what? Cooper's the kind of player he's going to learn from that. That's going to help him. So I'm not too upset about how Cooper played. You know, I thought the slot fade interception that C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you know, Cooper identified that, knew what was coming, alerted everybody what was coming. Still great route, bad throw by Young. If he threw it on you know, threw it where he's supposed to throw it, it's probably a completion. But the fact that he knew what was coming and could communicate that to the defense, I thought that was a positive overall. And he's the kind of guy who will learn from that, because you don't get to see that kind of guy every week. And even though it's a bad football team, Zander knows, I always say, even bad teams have really good players. And Adam Thielen's been a really good player for a really long time. And Cooper admitted, I talked to Cooper after, he admitted that it was tough. And he got taken to school a little bit, as you mentioned, but he'll learn from it. And that's what's going to make him the player he is.
You know, John,
I mean, that Leggett, they caught him on the blitz. And again, all the blitz happy people, they finally blitz. That's a touchdown, man. I don't know how he dropped it, because our broadcast glitched out, of course, at that time. I didn't even see him drop it. I'm wondering why New York's not looking at it, but evidently it was a pretty clear drop. But that's a ball a good receiver catches.
Yeah.
And he's a rookie, and you know, he's a young player. A lot of people question why they took him as high as they did. That's an easy NFL touchdown. And the Eagles survived this game, because they should have been behind with 52 seconds left with three timeouts, but still really up against it.
Hey, John, I'm now beyond this point now with this here with, dude, this guy, Zach Bond, is fucking unbelievable. He's unbelievable. I mean, John, how about the way he was going down the sidelines, chasing Hubbard down, and the way he was blitzing and the way he got in the backfield? I'll tell you something, John. I've seen a lot of great linebackers play in the NFL for the Eagles, and I'm trying to think of one that you've had in the middle in there like that, and I go all the way back to Seth. I mean, this guy is in coverage. He's good. This guy, to the point of attack, he's good. Taking on guards, he's good. I can't believe what I'm watching from a special teams guy who played 5 years in New Orleans like that, John. John, this guy looks like he's Fred Warner. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. A lot of times, man, guys need an opportunity, and they get pigeonholed because of some circumstance and some team. And if somebody else gives them an opportunity, even with their own team, you know, you get pigeonholed. Like Jalen Hurts had a pretty good game. I have to watch, you know, the film and all that, but you know, everybody's dismissing him as a developmental guy. The one play where he was chasing Bryce Young down, man, he's athletic. Yeah, he's really athletic. So sometimes guys just need a chance to show what they can do. And that's certainly been the case with Zach Bond, because he didn't get a chance in New Orleans. He was playing out of position, and Vic sees him and says, I think you're an all-ball linebacker. Lets him play, and bang, you got an all-pro level player. You know, he rushes the passer. He's a good blitzer. He's so instinctive. You would think everybody saw him as an edge rusher. You'd think he'd lack instincts inside, but he doesn't. And Nakobe Dean was great as well, both of those guys. So linebackers have, you know, we all thought, including myself, this is one of the worst linebacker rooms in the NFL starting the preseason. Turns out it's one of the best, because they gave Zach Bond a chance and they gave Nakobe Dean a chance.
John, the Eagles have an unexpected problem through week 14 in the NFL, and that's their kicker, Jake Elliott, who is now 0 for 5 on 50-plus yarders. He missed the point after today, which ultimately became a 2-point conversion due to a Carolina false or penalty there down at the line of scrimmage. What do you make of Jake Elliott? What do you do? Like, is there anything you can do at this point? Because I think when you get into playoff games, man, that you need that kicker, especially on 50-plus yarders, and he has not been there for them all year long.
I don't think you're going to cut him, so you just got to try to get him out of it. It happens, It's sort of like golfers getting a hitch in their swing. What's crazy is, I looked at it today from 21 to 23. This guy was 17 of 19 from 50 plus. 17 of 19. And he's 0 for 5 this year. And I just got up from talking to Nick Sirianni. He was asked a question about the end, the punts that Dan brought up, which they executed perfectly.
Perfect.
But if they felt good about Jake Elliott, they're kicking that field goal. And they don't feel good. Now, he wouldn't admit it because he doesn't want to throw the guy under the bus, but that's not typical Philadelphia Eagles football, that they're willing to punt in that situation. Now, probably part of it is the opponent as well, and they think certainly Bryce Young's not going to be able to go 98 yards. He did if Xavier Leggett helped him out, so ultimately he didn't. But yeah, you typically want to be more aggressive in those scenarios and kick the field goal. And they went against the grain. I always talk about Detroit going with their grain. The Eagles are a little bit more nuanced with that. And they let Jake Elliott's struggles affect their thought process. There's no question about it. But again, as you saw, one of the extra points, the Panthers jumped off sides, and the Eagles went for 2 and got it. You'll hear nobody talking about that tomorrow or today or ever. Quickly forgotten.
John, I want to go back to the passing game. I think it's a big story here. Is Jalen Hurts the problem with the Eagles offense?
Yeah. Fifth-year quarterback, fourth-year starter regressing at this level in the passing game, and you got to treat him with kid gloves.
No way.
The problem is the unique aspect of this team being able to win, despite usually if your passing game is this bad, you're one of the worst teams in the NFL. Usually, the Eagles. You mentioned, I think, on the pregame show, Zander, give those other 4 teams. I don't have them in front of me.
I got them
passing in this league.
And by the way, we dropped a spot today because I know it because the Panthers were the one behind us. Patriots, bottom, Giants, second to last, then Titans, Panthers, Eagles, and there was just a 1.8 yard difference there. So the Panthers are going to jump the Eagles, we know at least. So the Birds are going to be down at 29th and maybe even lower after this game.
And all those teams are horrible football teams.
Horrible. Like worse than horrible. Like you're talking about the bottom dregs of the NFL.
Hey, John, do you know what the Eagles remind me of? You remember the Jamal Lewis Baltimore Ravens when Trent was asked to make 1 play or 2 passing plays a game, and they'd win 13, 14 games in a Super Bowl? Just not turn the ball over, that kind of stuff there. A play from Shannon Sharp, and the rest of it was all Jamal Lewis and that defense on the other side. It's starting to look a little like that to me on what the Eagles look like. They look a little like that Ravens team.
Yeah, well, I think he can make more plays than Trent Dilfer. So I think, there's part of that. And that's what fuels the frustration. We've seen this guy make big plays in the passing game, and it's gone away. And the whole point of, scapegoating Brian Johnson and bringing in Kellen Moore was to evolve this passing game. Whether people want to play revisionist history or not, the goal was to evolve this passing game. It has devolved. And it doesn't seem to be a concern because they're winning games. They won their 9th game. That's a franchise record. 9th game in a row. They've done it 3 other times, but that matches the franchise record. So they're winning games amazingly. Now, again, they could have lost this game with one guy making a catch that he should make. So that's how small the margin of error was today.
Hey, John,
if you're throwing for 108 yards.
John, somebody just sent me this note when you were in the scrum there with Jalen. He made this comment. What'd you make of this? Jalen Hurts on managing getting A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith involved in the game. I play my role in how we execute, but ultimately it's about the position we put ourselves in, but it's not my choice. What's that mean?
I don't know. I had to come up to do the show. I wasn't actually in on Jalen Hurts today. So I have to watch it back after I get off, but because I didn't get to talk to him.
Yeah, because I want to know what that context is. Because before I comment on that, what's he talking about? That because if he's making a comment that they're defining his role because the role of the team now is to run the ball majority of the time and put up as many carries as they possibly can, and he's talking about his role on the team, that's a different conversation because now he's saying, and if he is, again, I don't know, so I want to get in context here. They threw the ball 31 times. So, I mean, they had 31 carries today, and they had 21, which is not awful, obviously, when it comes to the play script there. But to me, I want to know what that means. Is he frustrated because that's the role he's now in, where he's handing off the ball?
Oh, I'm sure he's frustrated. Everybody's frustrated on the offense. But nobody's going to complain when you're winning games. I mean, the minute it turns, everybody's going to complain. We got to get this going. We got to do this. Yeah, I mean, nobody's happy with this passing game. Nobody.
Yeah. A.J. Brown is
certainly not Jalen.
Elliot Shore Parks from WIP just put up a clip. So for everybody who's mad at the JAKIB Postgame Show for talking about it, A.J. Brown on what the offense needs to improve on, he gave a one-word answer: passing.
Yeah,
it's very obvious what this offense needs to improve on. And they haven't.
John said it to people. You know what the fucking problem is? That quarterback, again, anytime somebody's constructive, not destructive. You think John McMullen, who walks into that NovaCare Center every day and has relationships with those guys, is looking to be destructive? Absolutely not. When a guy's constructive, saying they got to get better if they want to win a Super Bowl, he's not wishing they fuck up. That is it. It's so annoying when people get aggravated like that. When somebody's constructive, that passing game sucks. Even last year, they were better in the top 10 in passing than they are right now. The turnovers are being cloaked by the sacks this year. They're still taking minus plays. That thing has regressed since 20. Actually, John, to your point, he hasn't played that well since that Super Bowl. That's his best game he's played. That Super Bowl. The rest of them, there have been a couple sprinkled in there where he's had great quarters, but he hasn't played consistently like that when he played in that game in Arizona.
Yeah, well, I think he had a number of solid games early. Certainly not. I mean, he played a phenomenal game in the Super Bowl, so that's tough to match when you play maybe your best game on the biggest stage, except for the one turnover. But he's played a lot of good games last year and even earlier this year. But lately, it's been torturous with the passing game, and the point is, for whatever reason, I talk about, first of all, Jalen will be the first one to tell you the passing game needs to improve.
He said it has to get. He said it. We have to be on the same page at the press conference, John. I'm getting a lot of people now saying it. That Jalen says, "Listen, passing game. We have to get on the same page." So, like you
it's
just
week 15. At what point do we plan on getting in the same page?
Well, that was my concern, because if you're not going to do it this week against this team, when are you going to do it? I guess there's a little bit of time, against the Giants late, but you might not have been having the player starters in that game. Like, this was the perfect game to get it going, because you're playing a poor opponent. You can probably get through it anyway, but they ended up playing the same way they always do because of necessity more than anything else. And they had to hold on for dear life. That guy bet $3.1 million living on the edge.
Did he bet the spread? He didn't bet the spread.
No, he didn't bet that. He bet the money line, so he won 450.
That guy's loving it. He's got a Xavier.
Hey, you know, really, I tell you what, John. I think maybe he shared that money with that rookie receiver who dropped that pass.
Yeah, maybe he found a scandal there because that was a bad dropping. That is an NFL receiver makes that catch, and the Eagles are in deep. You know what?
You bet.
Busted coverage there too, man. Guy was wild.
Well, no, they got caught on the blitz. I don't think it was busted. I mean, the guy got beat, but they blitzed. That was a rare, full bore blitz. I got to look at it again. I don't know if it cover 0, but I think it was, which is rare for the Eagles. And they just got beat, and they got caught. And should have made the catch, didn't. So it's hard to win in the NFL, you persevere, but that's part of the problem. This team's 11-2, so everybody says, "So what? Stop complaining. Be negative." Well, that's not their goal to be 11-2. Certainly not the fan base's goal because it's Super Bowl or bust. Well, good luck. Good luck beating some of these high octane offenses with that passing offense. It's got to get better. And the assumption, well, they'll turn it on in those games. All right.
Hey, John.
I want to see it first.
Hey, John. John Clark just posted this too. A.J. Brown says it's incredibly tough to get into rhythm when you aren't getting the ball thrown. A.J. was not targeted until the second quarter and only wound up with
1 minute left in the second quarter. That's when they targeted A.J. Brown. 1 minute left in the second quarter.
He had 4 targets for the entire game.
You have a human version of frickin' Iron Man who runs wide open every single play, and we can't get the passing game going. Like, it doesn't seem like this even needs to be this intricate, crazy, what's his name, Sean McVay passing game. Throw a slant to AJ. The guy's open every play. He's uncovered.
And by the way, where did all that come when everybody was yelling in the offseason? You got to get motion. You got to get creative. Where's all that? Where's all that?
They scrapped that. That's for sure. They tried it early and scrapped it.
But now it's fine to have an offense, a passing offense that Army might say, "Hey, we got to improve this."
Hey, John, I said this. I said, who Jalen Hurts reminds me of? Bryson Daly. All he does is win. All he does is win. He's 11-2. I mean, shit.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to. My point is in that, that's hyperbole. Of course, the Eagles have a better passing offense than Army. But I don't know if they have a better passing offense than any of those other 4 teams that Zander listed right now. And that, to be honest, it's not a fucking Friday, but I'm going to drop the first F-bomb. That's fucking embarrassing when you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. That's fucking embarrassing.
He's right.
No doubt about it. Johnny Mack, your final thoughts.
Hey, Zander, if you're in that locker room, Zander, right now, and you're like in that huddle, and you know that Carolina, you should have took that team out in the second quarter, and you let that team play 50 minutes, you know what you're thinking right now? Dude, we got an issue here because
you're not
about winning 15 games. Like John said, this is about winning that trophy and not coming up short here.
No doubt about it. Johnny Mack, your final thoughts on this game before we let you go, and then we'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365.
Well, ugly game, but they did persevere. So that's been kind of the story of the season, right? It's the same formula every week. Saquon was great. Everybody else was, I can't say, the offensive line does their job. AJ, when they throw it to him, does his job. Devontae was able to get involved. Grant Calcaterra had his first career touchdown. Tristan McCullum, first NFL start at safety. They were down Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown. CJ had to come out a couple times, managed to fight his way back in the game. That Cooper DeJean learned some things, as I said, against Adam Thielen. A lot of good stuff to talk about individual wise, but yeah, I mean, nobody's happy with that passing game.
I think they got out lucky too. Xavier Legette should have ended the game, and he didn't. Johnny Mac, thanks for checking in, brother. Good stuff today, and we'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
You
Johnny.
got it. Thank you, John.
Good stuff there from Johnny Mac. Big Sills, a couple minutes left here before I get into the post-game show and let you go. But, boy, so for all the people who are ripping into us in the chat, you got A.J. Brown saying it. You got Jalen Hurts saying it. You got the whole offense saying it. It's a problem, everybody.
Wait a minute. I've been saying it since day one.
Yes, you have.
Okay, wait a minute here. And here's another one. Jalen Hurts explanation. This is Jeff McClain, excuse me, from the Inquirer. Jalen Hurts' explanation for sliding down and taking a sack rather than throwing the ball away in the fourth quarter was that it was an RPO play and he didn't want to take an illegal man downfield penalty. Still, it's faulty thinking because you're thinking about 2nd and 19 versus 1st and 15. Dude, I'm telling you, man, that quarterback's melting down in front of you. I mean, his processing of the situational plays is not fundamentally sound.
I think we might have an issue with another person melting down on this team that's important. Jake Elliott, this is also from Jeff McClain. He tweets out, Jake Elliott responded to missing all 5 of his 50-plus yarders this season. His response was, hard kicks. And if you're not perfect, they're not going to go in. Jake, hard kicks. You're paid like $5 million to be a kicker on this team. There's kickers all over the league making these kicks. That's a sorry-ass excuse.
That's so lame. I mean,
right? Hard kicks? What the, no shit. That's why you're paid, bro. Hard kicks.
Dude. Hey, we'll see how this plays out over the next couple of weeks because I'll tell you this, man. You got the Eagles now very concerned in that offensive huddle. Dude, they come out of this game. They're not happy. They are not happy.
A celebration game. You're not celebrating in the locker room.
The only people that are happy that are the ones posting 11-2. Isn't it funny, Zander? You and me and everyone else, and I've been saying it all year. No matter what your record is, man, you got to think like the players and the coaches right now. They walk out of that football game right now knowing full well you played against one of the worst football teams in the league. They're the team that's going to be the 4th pick in the draft. You understand that? They're in a rebuild.
Yep.
And they took you to the limit. You couldn't put that team away? A.M. Reyes, you'll be fucking crying again by the end of the year. Don't worry, honey. I got you.
This will be a bigger story, not only in Philadelphia this week, but in a national scale as well, because, Kay Adams, very popular podcaster, does a very, very good job. She is very good at her craft. Give her credit. But she tweets out a quote to A.J. Brown's comments on the passing game and says, 108 yards on 21 attempts is eek, especially when everyone is playing run first. So that's a national person. You're going to see a lot more of that permanent. Oh, the Eagles are 11-2, and it's going to be hard to dispute them at this point.
I'm going to definitely tweet that back because she is how are you not throwing for 400 yards when you know a guy back there is the number one threat and your passing lanes aren't open? No, they're open, dude. He can't see. He cannot read a defense.
Look at Lubo. He says, we're so desperate to see it. Lubo, you understand that our business does better when the team doesn't. You understand that, right? You understand that what you're saying is direct contradictory to what
the players and coaches are saying. Yeah, he's not stupid.
I hate stupid comment. You're going to disagree, fine, but what a stupid comment by Lord Lubo with I don't know what's stupider, your name or your comment, dumbass.
You know what he's doing? He's protecting Hurts.
Yeah, because he can't admit to himself that the quarterback is not looking good right now. And the passing game is a major issue. You got 2 top 10 wide receivers, and you can't throw for over 100 yards? I mean, come on, dude. You sound stupid in the chat. You sound stupid. All right, Big Sills, before I let you go, man, just your final thoughts on this game. Birds, 9th straight, but an ugly one. Your final thoughts before we let you go.
The quarterback was awful, and the offensive passing game is not good enough to win a Super Bowl right now. Got a couple weeks to try to right the ship. You've got Washington, Dallas, and Pittsburgh that's got some talented people on their roster. How are you going to perform? There were some things in the game. 200 yards rushing. You know what? It's becoming a factor for me now. Even 200 yards, you're still in ball games. And why? You should never be in a ball game that you run the ball for 200 yards, but you are. Why? Because you have half a football team. You are a 1925 offense. You basically really are the Army offense. Run the ball, some plays on third down. Bryson Daly couldn't run this offense. He could. He could run this offense. Hey,
I don't
wait
know.
a minute.
Yeah,
wide open slants to AJ and turning around and handing the ball off to Barkley. That doesn't sound – he's a freaking mailman. I'll say this one more time also on the other side. I did not think the defense was all that awful, okay? They made plays when they had to.
Points. Yeah, they were fine.
I didn't think that thing was over the top awful. I still do think, though, once again, hey, Jordan Davis has to play better. Okay? He has to play better. And my concern going forward is going to be about Nolan Smith's workload. How is that going to be a factor as we get further down into the season when he has to pick his workload up? I got to tell you, man, that was a very disappointing performance. It was the worst performance in 2 years. And there's no question with the amount of talent you have on your football team, that performance right there, without a doubt, was a D+. You got the win, and the only reason you got the D+ is because you won. After that, you let a 3-win football team kick your ass up and down the field and have one possession to beat you. You're lucky you dropped it.
Scathing there from Big Sills. Big Sills, great show, man. We will catch you tomorrow, 2 to 6 on the National Football Show. If I had to guess, that will be a must-watch, can't-miss show tomorrow.
Ooh, hang on. Come on. Hey, little kiddies, come on. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Zander, great stuff. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Big Sills. Good stuff there from Big Sills and Johnny Mack. It's now officially time for the post-game show. I'm going to get to a commercial break. When we come back, I'll read all our super chats, and then we'll bring up the great people of JAKIB Nation and gauge where are our viewers. So for the people in the chat who don't like what we have to say, well, this is your chance to come on and talk. I'm not afraid of any of you. And Lord Lubu, come on the show. M. Reyes, let's go. Drakeford, Big Smooth. Everybody has a chance to get in here and talk and discuss this game here on JAKIB Nation, on JAKIB Sports. So we appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. By the way, good conversation today, everybody. I know it's not the type of conversation that everybody wants to have, but I don't understand how you could watch that game and then say, oh, there's no problem here, or, oh, it's popular to hate Hurts like Lou Bougie. What? It's not popular to hate her. Have you ever went on Eagles YouTube, my friend? You know why JAKIB gets so many hate chats every single day? Because we're the only channel that covers the Eagles that ever says anything critical of them. Now, I'm not criticizing the other people, but it's not popular to hate Jalen Hurts. And we don't hate Jalen Hurts. We're calling a bad game a bad game. Your star receiver, Lubo, who's making $32 million a year, is in the locker room to reporters after this game saying, our passing game sucks. But, oh, you're right. It's popular to hate Jalen Hurts. What a good cop-out. I hope you don't cop out of all your other responsibilities in life like you do for the Eagles, because that would be a joke, and that would make you a joke of a person. Let's get to our commercial break. I'm looking forward to talking to everybody, and a big thanks to We the People for becoming a member today. We appreciate that very much. Anybody that becomes a member, you'll definitely get the shout out. Ernie Berry became a member. Thanks, Ernie. Appreciate that. And I'll get to the rest of the super chats as well coming up after the break. So big thanks to everybody for being here. Hit that like button. We'll be back in 3 minutes on the JAKIB Postgame Show.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. counselor.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in. Back in, everybody, to the JAKIB Postgame Show. My mic keeps coming disconnected here. Let me reconnect that. Welcome in, everybody. I'll bring on some people for the JAKIB Postgame Show. Talk to you guys here. I will read a couple super chats as well. Big thanks to everybody who's watching and listening right now. Hopefully the new mic is back to connected, so that should sound good for everybody. We the people, thanks for becoming a member, and thank you for your super chat. We appreciate that. He checks in and says, some of you really need a reality check. Put Josh Allen in this offense. Would he throw for 100 yards or less? No. Hurts is a $250 million man. Remove Saquon, eliminate our defense. We the people, I don't think people are ready for that conversation. I really don't. We the people, I hear where you are, but you have people who have a hard time right now saying that that was an ugly game or that was a bad performance. Think about that for a second. We threw 108 yards with 25 yards of sacks, good for a total of 83 net yards versus one of the worst football teams in the NFL and really one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And they got no problem. So I don't think people are as advanced on this conversation as you are yet. Now, I do understand your point, and I think that's what makes it all the more alarming. You have that many weapons. It's not like we're throwing to Xavier Legette, a guy who can't catch a ball who's dropped in his hands to win a football game. You got A.J. Brown. You got Devontae Smith. I mean, shit, you even got Jahan Dotson. Do we even know if Jahan Dotson is an okay player? Do we even know? Is it fair to say he sucks? Seriously, is it fair? We can't even get A.J. Brown involved. We can't even get Devontae Smith involved. No shit, the third wide receiver doesn't look very good. I mean, think about it. But how good is Jahan Dotson? It's a lot of talent, we the people. You're not wrong. Philly Don checks in. Appreciate you, Philly Don. Thanks for your messages over the weekend. You're the man, brother. Thank you. He says, if Hurts comes out and plays like he did today, I would bench him for the game, especially if Pittsburgh is up. He needs a rude awakening. Yeah, that's old school there, Philly Don. I don't know if that would ever happen, but I don't disagree. I don't necessarily hate that. I mean, look at what a benching did for Bryce Young, right? Look at what a bench. Now that's a different player. He's a second-year player, rookie contract, unproven. I mean, that's a different player, but it's hard for me to disagree with you, Philly Don. I mean, that was a pitiful performance today from Jalen, and we did it in a way where we've been so confident that we can continue to do. Oh, who cares with the passing yards because we run? Well, we had 208 running yards today. Our defense gave up 16 points. Think about it. So you did everything else that everybody was telling me was going to win, that I was saying was going to help us win. You do it today, and you barely squeak by the Panthers. Luckily, Xavier Legette can't catch a beach ball right now at this stage of his career. And we skate out of there with a win. I don't know, Philly Don. I don't know what's in store for this team. We'll see. Brian Pumper, Hurts doesn't watch film. He's a ChatGPT quarterback. MF for Lincoln Oil. ChatGPT is a good resource for those who use it. Brian Pumper again. Brian, I know everybody likes to. I know you have polarizing comments, but I do want to say thank you for your support, man. It does mean a lot to the channel, all your contributions. So big thanks to you, brother. Appreciate it. Oh, let me put that back up. We should all go to Jalen Hurts and ask for our refund. Sills and Z, I want my damn refund. The CTE Hurts hive are a bunch of follies. Oof, I hear you, Brian. John says, everybody is saying the same shit I've been saying now, but I'm not surprised. I don't know what you were saying, John. Sorry. Matt the Fly Anger, Wishbone Hurts. Uh-oh. The comments they're turning on Hurts today. So Sig Lord says, I'm glad they're pissed, though, after a win. Yeah, they should be, Sig. I mean, what's there to be happy about today? We finished that game, and I walked out and said, boy, I know they won, but I wouldn't be celebrating in that locker room. And they weren't. They didn't look like they were celebrating at all. Now, I've been on the show, so I haven't had a chance to watch all the post-game coverage yet and the locker room stuff, which I will catch up on after the show, but I'm sure they weren't celebrating, and they shouldn't have been. Clary Voice says, Hurts every week shows his closest equivalent is Tim Tebow. Both winners, both running backs, both can't pass. Denver was smart to get rid of Tebow. Well, Clary Voice, I think we're in a much different situation here with Jalen Hurts. I don't think it's so easy, brother. I really don't. I don't see Hurts being. And by the way, I'm not calling for Hurts to be replaced at all. I know some people might feel like that. I'm not there yet at all. I think Jalen has proven enough for me to give him some chances here, but you're not moving on from Jalen anytime soon, just to be clear. He's going to be our quarterback next year and the year after that, and I would probably even say the year after that. So maybe not, but I think at least another 2-3 seasons with Jalen Hurts. Josh B, if we don't win a Super Bowl, what do we do with the quarterback? Same question. Josh B, you're probably running it back. JJ, Sills, you are right. Hurts sucks. AJ Brown even knows. You're going to start to see, Sileo jokes all the time about AJ Brown being a diva, and AJ Brown is not a diva at all. And I think Sileo knows that. But AJ Brown wants his targets like every receiver does. You don't think he's like analyzing this? You don't think he's like has some sort of discomfort or disagreement with the way things are going? Like if you're AJ Brown and you believe in yourself, like I'm sure he does, I'm a top 3 player in this league, a top 3 wide receiver in this league. I got 40 yards today versus the Panthers. I should have had 220. I should have had a Jerry Jeudy game, a Jamar Chase game. He's not even having chances to see those type of numbers. It's got to be weighing on you. It's a human thing. It's common sense. Lord Luba, appreciate your super chat, man. I know I was going back and forth with you, but I do appreciate your super chat, and I'd love for you to join the post game show to share your take. He says this fan base is too entitled. 11-2, and y'all are whining. We deserve to lose if this is how y'all act when we win. I don't agree with that at all. Now, maybe we have reached a point where we're entitled, and that's a credit to Jalen and Nick and the culture they've created of winning. But you can't watch that game, Lubo, and just say, oh, it's okay if you have any concerns. It's not okay if you have any concerns. I mean, come on. You got to be a little more realistic than that. Seti says, are the QBs and wide receivers in the same film room? Don't know. I'll have to ask John that. I don't know. It certainly doesn't look like it, right, my friend? I mean, Brian Pumper was right about a Jalen stinker. His groupies are so mad. I'm going to keep cooking your false prophet. Pumper, you do you, brother. And, look, he's a concern right now. He's the number one concern on the offense. Offense is a bigger concern than the defense. It's fair to point all those out as objective truths. Whether Pumper will be right in the end, we don't know yet. John says, I see them 10-1 boys upgraded to 11-2. Looks like it, John. Christopher Hand, is Jalen Hurts a liability as Saquon saves the team? Yeah, this is the Philadelphia Barclays this year, man. M. Reyes, another W Sunday. Let's flush it in Detroit Pit. Now listen, M. Reyes, I know you're an optimist and I can respect that. That's a take I can respect because there's a lot of shit you can shit on here, but what are you going to do? Are you going to sit here and dwell on it? No, I mean, you can't. So it's a W, put it in the win column and move on to next week. But boy, M. Reyes, we got to talk about the game and I can't flush it yet. So I got a job to do, M. And that's not one that's easy to flush. Lubu says again, y'all care more about stats than wins. Hurts had 3 touchdowns and a W in a bad game. Stay mad. Okay, that's fine. Seneca says, Q was solid, but DB's meh. First play of the game is always 8 to 12-yard run from Saquon Barkley, then nothing else for the rest of the drive. That W had 23 juices on it. Seneca, I said the exact same thing at halftime because we keep wondering why we have slow starts. We started the game with 2 punts this game, better than 4 like we did last game. So it's an improvement there. But 2 punts. If you look at the drives, Saquon had an 8-yard run and ultimately was negated by a penalty. But 8 yards. Didn't touch it again. Punt. Next drive, Saquon Barkley, 6 yards. Didn't touch it the next 2 plays. Punt. Like, is this just maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. Okay, I'm starting at my 10-yard line. 3 straight carries for Saquon Barkley. Just see what happens. 3 straight carries to Saquon Barkley. They don't do it. And I don't know why they don't do it, especially when you're backed up in your own red zone and it's the first quarter of the game. You're still working into the game. I think that's part of the reason the passing game sucks because they're trying to force feed it early. Corey Bazan checks in. I'd hire Ben Johnson this offseason if he can't fix Jalen. We need to move on before this talented roster is wasted. Ben, this might be one of those jobs he would come to, but they're not firing Nick, brother. Nick is going to be here. Khaled says it's all points to the quarterback. It all points to the quarterback he blows. It definitely, the problems on offense certainly do point to Jalen Hurts right now. Dio checks in. Big Sills is Chicken Little, played the Panthers from last 4 weeks. The Chiefs couldn't put Panthers away. Covered spread against good teams. It's a fair point. The Panthers were a pesky opponent, and they stayed in there today. John says, I want you to understand it's been brewing like this, just like the 23 season. This game is on film from here on out. QB can't overcome it. Got to worry a little bit about that film. We'll see what happens there. John, again, John, appreciate your support today, man. It means a lot. This is the same shit from last season when Casey and Buffalo dropped the game winner. Same shit, different year. Like I said, get ready for the meltdown. We did read that earlier, but big thanks. Waldo says, this game reminds me of the Colts game in 22. Is that the game we played the Colts close and we ultimately ended up going on a winning streak after that? I think that was that game, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't remind me of that at all. I read that one. Rodney, thanks for your support today, man. We appreciate that. Corey Bazan, I think we read that as well. Okay, let me get to the top, make sure I got all the super chats here. Pumper, this is just rude. Hard for me to read, man, on the show. Jalen Hurts is an a-hole and played like an a-hole. Jalen Hurts Society, my foot is on your necks. Timu Taysom Hill. Whew, scathing. John again. If doubt, oh, we already read that one. Got it. Caleb says, Goff had 5 picks. We're fine, man, on top of the mountain. Listen, Caleb, I hear you, and you've been right about the running game, but don't you think it's a problem? 208 yards today running the ball, Caleb, and we could barely get by the Panthers. If we're all being honest with ourselves, the Panthers should have won that game. Xavier Legette was wide open on his way into the end zone. The Panthers should have won that game. Tough. Caleb, I hear you, man. Hopefully you'll join me on the post-game show. Anthony says, Sills' hate is showing. Casey struggled against this team. But, Anthony, they don't have the issues we have, dude. I hear you, but you can't compare us with a 2-time Super Bowl champion. You can't. 3-time Super Bowl champion, but back-to-back. I mean, Anthony, let me just follow up with you. Because, listen, I appreciate the point. Do you worry about Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball when you need him to, like you do about Jalen? And maybe you don't worry about Jalen at all, but if you had to grade the two, I mean, where are you putting if Patrick Mahomes is up here, and then maybe you have the Josh Allens and the Joe Burrows of the world here, like where is Jalen on the passing game? Because today was the perfect example. I'm not talking about the running game. We had 208. We were a prolific running team today, like we have been all year. Nothing changed. The reason the Panthers stayed in the game is because we couldn't pass the ball. think it's a fair point. It's a tough one to talk about, I guess, for people. Brian says, I'm not even counting the sacks on the O-line. Jalen Hurts acting like a POS. I want to fight this bum again. I would roundhouse Buddy. Rob Williams. Rob, appreciate it, man. It's not Kellen Moore. It's Jalen. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Clary Voy, feels like Hurts has taken more yards and sacks than passing yards this season. Hurts picture next to bum juice definition. Maybe. Lord's Grace. Thank you, Lords. This offense should be clicking like the 99 Rams. Marshall Faulk at 2,200 all-purpose yards. Torrey Holt, 1,600 yards. Isaac Bruce, 1,400. Warner, 43. Not happening, Lords. Not happening, man. Not the way we're built right now. Not the way we're built. Josh Allen getting crushed by the Rams. That's 24-14, Eagles talk. I mean, I don't know about that, but all right, time to drop the link for all of you guys to join me here on the post-game show. Looking forward to talking to you guys. Who's ready to join? Link incoming. All right, save that link. I just put the link in the chat. It's a StreamYard link, so join me in if you want to join me in the post-game show. I can't wait to talk to our optimistic Aussie who was insufferable in the comments. I almost referenced him in the comments. Literally couldn't reference him in the comments because and I see him just checked into the green room. Hotsport, your comments were insufferable today. I almost put you in timeout on the chat. Got some people ready to join the show. Looking forward to talking to them now. Bob Brown, I'm going to go to you first when you connected. I don't see your connection just yet. Bob, I'm going to do this. Let me boot you. Bob, try and rejoin for me, Bob. I want to get Bob in here first. Been waiting to talk to Bob here on the post-game show. Let me get to the super chat while I wait for Bob. Brian says, not all is lost. Try DeJean at Brian's throwing anything now. Try DeJean at QB and have number one, a.k.a. DeMarco Hurts, Ezekiel Alexander Hurts, a.k.a. Jamaican Scammer, Jalen Bumba Hurts. Go on. Yo, Pumper, that's crazy, man. That's crazy right there. Any other super chats I missed that I got to get to? All right, that's none. Bob, I don't know where you are. I'm going to get you up next. Riding the bench, coming to you, my friend. Here we go. Oh, never mind. I got Bob. Riding the bench. You're coming up second, all right, brother? Let me get Bob. Bob, he's coming in first. There he is, my friend.
What's going on, pal?
Birds win their ninth straight today, 22-16. How are you feeling after that win?
The best part about this game is it wasn't on late at night, and I get to go to bed at a normal time instead of watching this attempt for a team to look like they're destined for the Super Bowl. Okay, I'll say this. I put it in the chat earlier. We do understand the first 25 plays. You watch the film during the week. You see your opponent. You see what they don't do well. You find the plays in your system that exploit those weaknesses, and then you attack. And it seems like Nick and his guys say, hey, what have we run in a couple weeks? Let's try something new. Because it doesn't seem like there's a game plan. Okay, there's no game plan. And then all of a sudden now, after 25 plays, you're into the flow of the game. And then they start to counterpunch. It doesn't make any sense that this late in the season, they cannot figure out how to get the first 25 plays to have some sort of flow going into a game. And McMullen is there at the press conference, and I don't watch them. But if somebody doesn't stand up and say, who sets the first 25 plays? And if the answer is, well, we all kind of do, the response should be, you need to get new guys because you suck at it. This isn't that hard. I mean, it almost looked to me, Zander, like they said, all our job to do today is to get Saquon the record for the team. And after they got that record, it was like, okay, we don't know what to do. Calcaterra had that touchdown. AJ was open on the slant. Hurts pulled off of AJ to throw the ball to Calcaterra. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's great that Calcaterra got his first touchdown, and it's a really neat story. But if I've got to feed somebody on that team, there's no way I'm going to bypass AJ. But this is no different, right? AJ's in, Smitty's in. He was able to find Smitty a little bit, and he couldn't find AJ. Is it any different than when AJ's on fire and he can't find Smitty? We can't work with two receivers, which is why number 3 is irrelevant.
Yeah, I can't even get to Jahan Dotson. We can't even get the 2 top 10 guys involved. What do you make?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
just how much of a concern is it for you? You know, there's people like, oh, we can run the ball great and we have a great defense. I see it, but the passing game sucks, Bob. It sucks.
You can run the ball until all of a sudden you can't run the ball. You can run the ball until, God forbid, there's a twisted ankle, or I've got to go in the tent and get checked out. I'm not talking about an injury. A lineman, somebody goes down, and even though, Gainwell had a 14-yard run, the line is doing their job, but it doesn't take much for the running game to go away. If everybody's firing, yeah, that's great, until we get a better defense that stops it. And you can't all of a sudden say after 15, 16, 17 weeks, well, I thought the passing game was going to be there for us. Hasn't been there all season. That's the thing. It's we're complacent in the fact that we do something really, really well, and we don't seem as an organization to say, let's identify our weaknesses and build those up. They say, here's what we're doing well. Let's keep doing it well. And if you don't address your weaknesses, you're never going to be a championship team. I've had this conversation with Sileo. A good organization, a good leader, a winner learns more from his losses than he does from his wins. When you win 9 in a row, you have to go back and look at your wins and say, we won, but. And for the guys in the chat that can't understand, this is a family. Like if a Cowboy fan came in and started taking shots, I understand. Knuckle up and guard your grill because the Cowboys suck. But this is the organization. If we can't address this honestly, if somebody looks at 11-2 and says we're fine, I really want them to tell me what they thought last year when we were 10-1. San Francisco came into town wearing all black, punched us in the face. We hit the deck and never recovered. And that almost happened today. Because if you lose to Carolina on your home turf and then you think you're going to go out and take care of Pittsburgh, that's, again, I said it like last week, that's pride, not brains. Okay.
Bob, how concerned are you about Jalen Hurts right now?
I'm concerned about Hurts. I am more concerned about a staff that can't get Hurts going. Because, we can say Hurts can't throw the ball. He's not good at passing. The scheme doesn't fit Hurts. The scheme we're running, the slants are great. I put it in during the week. The RPO system, the passing game stretches the field horizontally. You don't stretch it vertically. You get crossing patterns, AJ on a slant, Smitty coming the other way, Hurts ducks out the back door, waggle to the tight end, dragging across the middle, a dump to a fullback or a tailback. We shouldn't be throwing the ball 25 yards down the field. That's not this offense. That's not his game. But Hurts, I didn't see Hurts today do anything different that he hasn't done all year. So, yes, we can say that's Hurts, and Hurts has a lot to do with that because he's the guy that's sitting out there on the field, and he's the guy we focus on. But what has the staff done to say to him, we're 13 weeks into this. What do we have to put in front of you that you're going to do this right? What are the plays that you want to run, Jalen, for the first 25 plays so you're comfortable? Because he doesn't seem comfortable.
Do you think there's a discrepancy there where potentially Jalen doesn't want to do or can't do what they're asking him to do, which, as it was talked about before the season, is going to be this new pro-style offense with Kellen Moore, where he's now calling out the protections and picking up the coverages and audibling at the line, all these great things that we were supposed to do. None of it's come true. Is that on Jalen or is that on the Hurts?
No, Jalen can't do what Moore wants, which is why we went back to the RPO. I gave Moore credit during the week. He has embraced the RPO and has tried to put a system together. Okay? But Hurts isn't going to change in week 14. It's not like he's going to wake up on Wednesday and go, holy crap, I figured out the secret sauce. I know what to do now. So it is dependent on the staff to say, we need to build a system that we can get through this season so that Jalen is comfortable. And look, is A.J. Brown a diva? Every single star receiver in this league is a diva. They all want their catches. They all look at the score, okay? And if what's going to happen is we're going to lose a game, and then everybody's going to look at A.J., and he's going to open his mouth and say, you haven't thrown the ball to me all year. All of a sudden now I've got to carry this team. That's going to happen. So it's not that AJ's a diva. Every single star wide receiver, with the exception of Jerry Rice, and I've been doing this a lot, Jerry Rice was not a diva. Every single other receiver wants their catches. They want to be focused, and they want to be fed, and they want the offense to run through him. That's every receiver. We have the best running back in football right now. We need to utilize that guy, but not to the extent of costing us the season, because we haven't figured out this counterpunch, right? The running game is a body blow. Bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, we can't go to the head. We can't go over the top, and we're going to get caught with one. Not that I'm going to say I wanted them to lose, but if you lose a game right now, that might be the wake-up call. Unfortunately, now you've got Pittsburgh. You've got Washington coming up, okay? Now you've got a couple of dogs at the end of the season. You tell me I was going to lose to Carolina? I want to beat the Cowboys, and I want Saquon, if he's still in line for 2105, I sure as hell want him to break that against the Giants in the last week. I don't think we have to worry now about getting home field advantage. I think right now the focus is we need to put Hurts in a situation where he has to identify what he is comfortable doing so that this staff can figure out a way to say, we're going to this last quarter of this season into the playoffs, we're going to put together the plays that you want, and you got to make this work. And if they don't do it, then at the end of the season, there's going to be some very, very hard discussions that are going to have to be had.
John, Bob, how did the Bob meter shift after this game on Super Bowl aspiration? Maybe it didn't shift at all. Maybe these are the problems you knew were there. But
I said it last week. I don't think it's Super Bowl. I think it's NFC Championship game. Until we can throw the ball, we can get to the NFC Championship game. I don't think that today changed anything, that if we're in the game on the road, we have the talent to win. It's a push. If they get out quick on us, we have a problem. If the Lions stub their toe, trip up, fall on their face, and they have to come into Philadelphia late in the season with our running game and our fans, then we're a 5-6 point favorite at home on our field. Neutral site, they get more out of their talent than we get out of ours. They use their number 2 receiver, which allows them to utilize Tim Patrick as their number 3. They utilize their number 1 and allows them to utilize their number 2 running back. Our number 2 running back is Hurts. I'm not a big fan of saying getting Kenny Gainwell on the field, but our 2 running backs are Jalen and Saquon. Then Jalen's got to throw for 225 and run for 80 to give him a 300-yard all-purpose game. If he does that, he can keep up with Goff. But you can't go out and lay an egg like this against this Carolina team at home in front of your fans, and for people to go, we're 11-2, we're fine. That's like saying your girlfriend came home and she smells like some other guy's cologne, but you trust her. You got to dig into something and find out what the hell's going on. Okay? Literally, that's what it was. We're overlooking some very, very bad deficiencies, and we're saying it's okay, we trust them. How can you trust them? It's 3 a.m., and she smells like Old Spice. What do you trust? She should have been home. This should have been closed out. We didn't close this game out because we didn't have the ability to figure out how to put our foot on somebody's throat. And that's the problem, because Detroit will put their foot on our throat. Pittsburgh will put their foot on our throat. If you think the Cowboys somehow pull a rabbit out of their rear end, they will put their foot on our throat. And Washington, that young quarterback, like I said, he's not there yet, but he can do enough to keep our defense on their toes.
Bob Brown, great stuff as always, man. I think you brought the heat today, and your analysis makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. Thank you for joining, my friend. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Good stuff there from Bob Brown. Whew. Hard to disagree with any of what Bob Brown just said. Really is. I think it's good because he's not telling you everything is all, peaches and cream, but he's also not telling you that the season's over, but he's very realistic about where this team is. And I think he makes a lot of sense there. There's one comment I wanted to read before I get to our next person. Riding the bench, I'm coming to you. Ernest, and then I'm coming to you. That's a new face. Looking forward to talking to you, brother. Thank you for being in here right now. DB checks in. And DB says, this is ridiculous. Everyone keeps babying this quarterback. We gave him everything. Money, receivers, coaching. It's still not good enough. We had the highest paid player who is the weakest link. I think that's an interesting comment because when you look around, most quarterbacks aren't dealing with as many weapons as Jalen Hurts is. And I think that increases, the pressure and the expectation among all of us. And that's why we look at this like, why does this look this way? It's one thing to have 109 passing yards throwing to Xavier Legette who can't catch a game-winning pass. To have it with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all these guys, it's another story. DB, good comment. Thank you, brother. Riding the bench, coming to you now, my friend. What's going on, man? Birds win their 9th straight. How you feeling after that win?
Oh, what a difference a week makes, doesn't it? What a difference a week makes. Listen, I think everybody walked into this game thinking that this was not going to be an easy game, that Philly was just going to win. Like, the spread was 13.5 at one point. Everybody knew they weren't going to, like, Panthers were going to cover it, right? This was going to be a trap game. It was going to be tight. I was not expecting 83 total yards from the air, though, right? Like, that's the most disappointing part about this damn game, because, like, we ran for 200 yards. We controlled the line of scrimmage, and yet Bryce Young had a chance to win the game at the very end. And that's a scary, scary thing to see, considering how we've played all year on defense and all year with this running game, that these teams still have chances to win the ball game at the very, very end, because this offense just can't get going through the air. And I don't mean to change topics here, Zan, but I do have a question.
Yeah,
you're good. You guys. You know what I mean? For anybody out there, if Jalen Hurts in this game, for example, threw for 335 and had the 3 touchdowns, but we lost the game, would we all feel better going forward into the playoffs with this team, seeing this passing game put up all these yardage? Or would we still be sitting like, shit, we just lost to the Panthers, even though he just exploded in the passing game?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
the answer to your question is, truthfully, if they did that in the passing game, it probably would have been 49-0, and the Panthers would have had a chance to win it. But to answer, I get your question. I understand what you're saying. I truthfully think I would feel a little better, because the reason is because it shows you're a more versatile football team, and it shows you can handle adversity in different ways versus just being, one way. So it's a tough response. You obviously want to win the game, but it didn't look too good today.
But oddly, you would feel better going into Pittsburgh saying, like, okay, at least we've seen Jalen do it. You know what I mean?
I've seen him throw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, like we've seen him have a prolific passing game.
Yeah,
right?
I hear you.
And then part of it leads me to my next point, because I know you're a big supporter of Sirianni. If Sirianni's job as a head coach right now is to lead the Eagles to win as many games as possible, I think you keep him next year. But if his sole job is to get Jalen Hurts right, is to make him a better quarterback, make him a better passer, do we move on from Sirianni unless we get to the NFC title game or the Super Bowl? Because I'm leaning towards this idea, like, hey, we have Jalen Hurts for the next 5 years, like you're saying. He's our guy. We need to find a way to optimize him.
That's true.
Because this team has all the talent in the world. How he can plug and play a lot of these guys, he's proven it over the past 2 out of 3 years, where he can plug in rosters and get guys to play and make a superstar roster here. But the coaching staff, Bob Brown, tough act to follow, by the way. Holy shit. What a genius
he was crushing it.
Yeah,
Bob was in rare form today. He was good.
No, he's unbelievable, that guy. But he said it. Like, the coaching staff is putting Hurts in this position where they're trying to make him something he's not. And Sileo talks about it. McMullen talks about it. You talk about it. A lot of Eagle fans talk about it. Something is just amiss here. Whether it's Jalen Hurts and his processing, whether it's him actually being able to throw the ball, or something else. One thing's for damn sure. This passing game stinks, and it's going to continue to stink until you figure out a way to put the pieces in the right spot. And I feel like the only way we could do that is like what we saw in Baltimore. Run the RPO. Like, that is what you're going to get the most out of this team. And I don't care how it looks or how it looks to the media, where it's like, oh, Jalen Hurts is regressing and all. I don't give a crap about that. I want to win the big one. And the best way for this team to win the big one is to put him in the system we were in 22. And plus, with this defense, and you have that RPO, you're telling me you don't have a puncher's chance at beating anybody in the NFL? Like,
no, you're right.
We got to get our heads out of our asses, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just don't know how good I don't know how good that 22 offense would work today, like it did in 22. Like, I'd like to believe it would work as good, but it isn't. In a way, look, in a way, it is an indictment on the quarterback if you're going to do
For sure.
that. Now, maybe it's the right thing to do because it's better for your team, but it does show that you had to scale back from Jalen Hurts, on what you wanted Jalen to be. And that's, if you're willing to live with that indictment, then I think maybe you bring up a good point.
Listen, it's fair, but I think you guys have talked about it in the past. Like, if I can get the best out of Jalen Hurts for 8 years versus try to make him into a passer and get 20 years out of him, let me get the prime 8 years of Jalen Hurts with this roster. Because Super Bowl windows are not open for decades.
No,
That's impossible. They're anomalies.
2 or 3 years, man. They're not long.
You got 2 or 3 years to cash in. And if that means putting him in the RPO and letting him run the ball, use his legs, and be that type of force, and let him be a mismatch, then I'm going to ride it until the very, very end. Because quite frankly, I think he's proven to us at this point, at this moment, with this coaching staff, he is not going to be a drop back passer. That is not his skill set. That is not his game. And we have a better offensive line this year. You have a better running back than you did in 22. And I would like to believe A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are better on the outside than they were back then too.
I agree.
So you got the talent. Now it's time to put it on Jalen Hurts. And he wanted this. Remember, in the offseason, he wanted it. He wanted all the pressure to be on him. Well, you know what? Chickens are going to come home to roost now. Now you got to start to answer some questions here, because you're not going to get away with this against Detroit. You're not going to get away with this against Minnesota. You're not going to get away with this against Green Bay. Hell, you may not even get away with this against Tampa Bay or Seattle in the NFC. Like,
I don't think, by the way, I don't think you would get away with it for Tampa. I don't think you would get away with it against Tampa.
Not at all.
Tampa can move the ball.
You go down 10-0, you got a problem. You got a problem here. So, I don't know what the answer is, but I think in the offseason, to answer my own question, was if you don't get Jalen Hurts right, what do you do with Sirianni?
Yeah, Nick, I got news though. Nick ain't going anywhere, man.
I know. I know in theory he's not going anywhere, but I'm saying, like, if his job is to win games, you keep him. But if his job is to develop Jalen Hurts,
but why did we bring Kellen Moore here then? Like, I hear what you're saying, but they've removed Nick from that. Like, that's what Shane became, and then that's what Brian Johnson was, and now that's what Kellen Moore was supposed to be. Like, now I get it. You're wrong, not wrong. Nick's the head guy. He's the head coach, but I don't know.
Again. I'm only posing the question because
I hear you.
Like, I can't.
I think it's a fair question. I do think it's a fair question.
Because like I can't blame Sirianni if he's not involved in any of it. We can't give him credit when he wins and then disparage him when he loses if he's not part of any of it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have it both ways here. So if he's part of the reason you're winning games, he's got to be part of the reason you're losing games as well. And these first 25 plays, like Bob said, it's the most horrific thing I've seen in the NFL all year. It's so bad. It's like god awful. Like, it almost, like, it makes any, like, I watched 365. Mike Gill talks about it. He's like, every fan believes that they can go into an NFL game and call a better game than the coaches do.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? For the first 25 plays, I know for damn sure every Eagle fan out there can call a better game than what the Eagles freaking call. It's unbelievable.
I'll hand it to Saquon 25 straight times. I'll get better results. I promise.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Brother, thank you for joining in. I got to keep moving. I appreciate it, man.
Take care.
Good stuff, brother. Appreciate him joining in here. That's Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Good stuff there. If you guys enjoying the show, you can put it in the chat, man. I think some of the people like the people that come on, so don't be afraid to interact with them in the chat. I know Bob Brown is obviously well known. You guys know Bob Brown in the chat. Let's get to my new face here, Ernest, coming in to talk to me here on the post game show. Ernest, what's going on, my friend? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? Nothing much, man. What about you?
Not much, man. Birds get their win, the 9th straight. Thanks for joining, by the way. I love getting new faces on here, but how you feeling after that win? Are you sharing in the concerns? Are you optimistic? Where's your head after a win like that?
To be honest, it's kind of hard to be optimistic after a win like that, but at the same time, not really like overreacting the same way that a lot of people are. Like, it's hard. Like, and actually, I have reasons to be upset because, like, man, I put money on this game for the first time in my life, man. Like,
oh no, like, first time in your life?
Yes, man.
Oh my God.
Dude. I mean, it wasn't
first
that much.
First time in your life. You bet Eagles Panthers and they drop a stink bomb.
I bet AJ Brown at least 80 yards, at least over 5 receptions, and Saquon Barkley touchdown. Didn't even get the Saquon Barkley touchdown, man.
I know, he got stuffed at the goal line.
Dog. But I mean, even with that being said, like, I'm not that like upset, man. Like, I still believe in my quarterback, man. Like, I've seen him do it before, man. Like, I know the kind of guy he is, man. Like, he's gonna work hard to get better. Like this, I'm not gonna excuse this game. Like, man, I was not happy. Like, it was not a good performance, but at the same time, like, I've seen him do it before. Like, I know the kind of guy he is. Like, he's got the talent around him. Like, he can get back to that level, man. Like, he's been winning games. It's 9 games in a row. At the same time, it's a good problem to have. Like, we're mad that we won a game. It was ugly, but we won. Like, you know, our 9 winning a game. So, I mean, it's all good, you know. So,
all right, I appreciate it. How do you think we stack up versus like a team like the Lions? Because I think that's what people fear. It's like, it's one thing to criticize Jalen. It's another thing to believe that you're not going to be able to hang with a team like that because of the passing game. You think we can hang with a team like the Lions right now?
you know, one thing about this team is I feel like they can just like match any team's level. Like on paper, they can definitely, of course, do that. But I feel like when it comes to game time, like even if they play back like bad the previous week, like when it comes to matching up to a team, no matter what team, I feel like they just get up to the moment. Like they're up for it. Like even if they played bad this week, I feel like if they play the Lions next week, like I feel like they would just be way more sharp. Like, so I still believe in this team. I still think they can go toe to toe with any team. Like, honestly, I feel that way. So
they got the talent, that's for sure. They just got to make it all happen. All right, brother. I appreciate you joining me. I love getting a new face in here. Thanks for checking in. Don't be afraid to drop your name in the chat so the people can know who they're talking. I like it. I think people like putting a face to a name in the chat, but appreciate you joining, my friend. I'll talk to you again soon. All right.
For sure, man. Thanks. Have a good one.
Good stuff, man. Great stuff from Ernest there, joining the show here on the JAKIB Postgame Show. Birds win their 9th straight. I now have the optimistic Aussie dictating to me when he wants to join the show. That's where this guy has gone. You got to be kidding. I'm almost hot sport. You're out of here. I'll bring you up. Let's do it. Bringing him up now. Hot sport joining the show. What's up, my friend? How you feeling? 9th straight win for the Birds, 22-16. I can see it. I can see the smile on your face. Oh, it's all perfect.
Dude, I'm not okay. Firstly, to clarify, sometimes when Dan just talks in his tone that he does, I just feel very combative, and I just want to say the exact opposite of what he's saying in the chat. So what I say in the chat
sometimes... That's a female tendency, my friend.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, that's a very male
called
tendency.
Reacting with emotion instead of logic.
No. Watch. You know what? You want to debate me on this? Because I will still have the Eagles team's back, and I still think that everybody is just way, way overreacting to it. And just by the way, what are we talking about Jalen Hurts being a problem? Dude, see that big run he ripped off to put us in position to win the game? That didn't happen today. What about that throw he threw to Devontae in the end zone to put us up before the half when we had like about a minute to go and we had to get the TD before the half to put us in position? What about 3 touchdowns overall on the day, and his QB rating has gone up? Okay, I was surprised that his passing stats were that low, but overall, I'm not concerned about him. And by the way, we have a weapon in the backfield called Saquon Barkley, so now we're complaining that we're using that. I look, we can't look the way we did against Baltimore last week and be like, that's a big championship statement. And this week, we win another game, okay, but it's a little bit ugly, and yet all of a sudden we're not.
They dropped a stinker today. That was a stinker.
All right, well, here you go, because Dan was saying
they
that
were a drop pass away from losing to the Panthers. You got to be real. Like, I hear what you're saying. You're right.
But you're blaming that on Jalen? You're blaming that on Jalen? You realize that Jake Elliott missed a big field goal at the beginning of the second half, right? He puts that through. We're not even talking about a Xavier Legette drop, right? Like, Eagles did enough on offense, clearly, because we won to win the game. No, but the kicker is meant to do his job. And the quarterback did.
And what's Jalen Hurts meant to do? Not his job?
3 touchdowns overall today. He's on pace for over 40.
Dude, he had 83 net passing yards, dude. That's
because there were a few silly sacks that he took, like the one where he slid on his own. But look, I can tell one thing, and this is the truth, like in terms of how I feel about Jalen and some of these reasons why he incompletes some balls and why his stats aren't that good. He is playing very safe with the football, so he's not throwing any risky passes anymore. He'll throw a lot down to the sideline. He'll rather take a sack than throw a bad pass. I noticed the one when he fell over by himself is because he realized he had nowhere to go, and he's like, I'd rather just take the loss of yards here than throw a pick, right? Because we're acting like Jalen threw 5 picks today. He didn't throw 5 picks today. He's doing exactly as instructed. He's protecting the football. He's leading us to wins, and he got 3 TDs today. I won't say that enough times.
He dropped the stinker today, dude. He dropped the stinker today. I don't care. Listen, I don't care how you slice this up to be positive. I appreciate the optimism, but dude, that was a stinker. That was a total stink fest.
But again, here's the thing. First of all, 2 things. Number one, Carolina has been playing really good. They almost beat Kansas City 2 weeks ago, right? They should have beat Tampa last week.
They've been a hard out. They've been a hard out,
and so they dragged us down with them to their level. We overlooked them, and this was a trap game, and it became a trap game. And that happens throughout the course of the season. But it doesn't mean this team isn't going to be a good football team. And I bet your ass that we are going to beat Detroit home or away this season. Okay? Like Detroit should have lost to Chicago last week.
That's a divisional opponent, man. That's a different game.
Look, and then we talk about Dan saying, I couldn't take this one. Oh, Kansas City would beat us by 50. Kansas City can't score 50 on anybody right now. Kansas City should have lost to the Raiders if it wasn't for the Raiders dropping a ball inconspicuously in the fourth quarter when they were in field goal range last week. They had a block kick against the Broncos. They should have lost to Carolina. They should have lost to Tampa Bay, should have lost to Cincinnati, should have lost to the Ravens, and they're not scoring a shitloads of points. So why are we suddenly critical of the Eagles if we have one game? Look, I've proven to be right throughout the season. When we were overreacting about the Braves.
Wait a second, though. You just ripped off more complaints about a team that's 11-1 coming off back-to-back Super Bowl wins with 3 wins in the last 5 years. You have more complaints about that 11 team than you do about it. That's because you're an Eagle homer.
It's not. I'm trying to make you see. Look
my
at things
God,
in
you ain't
perspective.
making me see shit. Other than that, you're delusional.
No, if you were a fan of the Chiefs, I guarantee you, knowing the way you are, you would also have been concerned about them. That's what I'm saying. So it's just because we're looking at our own team.
Brother, you earn a
all
right when you do that.
But every empire comes down eventually, all right?
Okay, that's fine. If your projections are coming down, that's fine. But they don't deserve. We don't deserve to be in the same conversation.
The New England Patriots were champions when we beat them in 2017.
Okay, and you think this team can have 380 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in the air like Nick Foles did in that Super Bowl?
Because he did it again against the Chiefs in 22.
Okay, and what year was that? And what year are we in right now?
2024. He can still do it.
Okay, all right. He has.
Look, I promise you, and you can hold me to the fire because it's on recording. If there's a game where somebody's able to shut down Saquon, I guarantee you that Jalen's gonna be able to deliver. I guarantee.
Right now, he can't deliver when they're not shutting down Saquon.
So no, but I should look at that. What was it? 3rd and 13 in the fourth quarter. He hooks up with AJ to get him first down. He picks up first downs no matter what. In that drive at the end of the half, he also needed 3rd and 18.
You want me to thank him for not robbing a bank? He's throwing a 13-yard out route, and you're justifying that as a worthy performance.
But in the moments when you need him the most, he delivers. Okay, it could be ugly throughout the game, but that happens to every team. That happens to Patrick Mahomes. It's been happening to him all year. I'm not taking this one game and eliminating us from contention. Because last week we played an offense that I am scared way more than of Detroit's offense. That Baltimore Ravens got Derrick Henry, they got Zay Flowers, and they got an MVP quarterback in there in Lamar Jackson. And we won last week. We took them down to our level. All right, we may play scrappy, but when we play everybody else, they play scrappy too. I promise you, man. Every week is different. We reset. The energy levels in a playoff game are different. You come in there, the crowd is going absolutely nuts, and it's intimidating for the opponent. I promise you, we're going to be okay. That's all I'm going to say.
I know. The date is March 28th, and Anton is still screaming to the high. We're going to be Super Bowl.
March 20th.
Bro, the Super Bowl was last month. We lost, man. We couldn't pass in the NFC title game. What the fuck are you talking about? That's Anton. All right, I got to run. All right, brother. Thank you, man.
Me too. All right, man. Thanks for having me on, man.
Good stuff there. Holy shit. That guy brings a new level of homerism. But I do appreciate him coming up every week. Let's keep rolling in. I got Akbar the Star coming up. I got O-Line Guru coming up. I got some time today. It's only 6:30 p.m. It's different, right? Well, normally we're doing this at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. We here tonight. O-Line Guru coming to you, brother. What's going on, my man? How you feeling on this ninth straight win for the Birds? How you feeling today?
I feel all right, man. I feel a little bit different about the game, but I understand the criticalness of that game. But I'm doing all right. How you doing,
Tell me
man?
how you feeling now. I'm good with that. I like a different opinion. Like? Where's your thought? Where's your head after that thing?
I think it is fair to say I could see why you would want to see a little bit more fluidness in the passing game by now. I think that's a completely fair critique, and I just can't agree with. Let's look at it from, let's say, third person point of view. Let's say we're aliens in the sky, right? We're looking down, watching this football. My biggest critique is I don't know if it's enough. We keep saying, "Is this going to work? Is this going to work?" Who's the threat in the NFC? Who? And I said it earlier. We got the Lions. That's cool.
I think Vikings are legitimate. They're proving to
I
me
think
that
they're
they're
all right.
legitimate.
I think the Vikings can be a threat once again. But this is, I think Bobby said this is real. We need home field. Now this is real. We need home field.
You know what scares me about the
We
Vikings?
need home field.
It's Brian Flores that scares me about the Vikings, because I think an aggressive D coordinator that's going to bring different looks has been kind of Jalen's kryptonite in the past. Like, think of Todd Bowles. I could see Flores throwing everything at Jalen and trying to throw him. That's what fears me about the Vikings a lot more than Sam Darnold.
I think the Vikings is a good team. I think with the thing like with Tampa, and I said this when we talked about Tampa beginning, and once again, I always said this. I did an in-breath breakdown of the Tampa game, and they keep doing the same thing. We can't get behind on a team like Tampa. We can't get behind on a team like Minnesota where Brian Flores is now. We can't get away from the run early. It's like little things like that we can't do. But do I feel comfortable with home field advantage in Jalen Hurts? Absolutely. I believe in Jalen Hurts more than I believe in Jared Goff. And I know it seems, but it's just, I do. And no matter what, cool, Jared Goff gonna look great in the regular season. All that, I'm right there with you with all that. But he had 5 picks in the game, so I'm not gonna act like Jared Goff ain't still in there. When I say still in there, I always thought he was a top 15 guy. And I think it's unfortunate that it's guys like Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Herbert, that I think is just a little bit on a different level for him. But I think the game, the way it's being played now, is so reckless till it's a breath of fresh air like Jared Goff to be on time, get the ball where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because although athleticism has went up, I think the quality of play has went down a little bit with playing up top from the shoulders up. And I think that's where Jared Goff has the edge at right now. But when it comes to making plays in the playoffs, I'm going to take one over him. Especially if we got home field. We need home field.
The only thing I like a little bit more right now about Jared Goff than Jalen Hurts is that system that they've built in Detroit.
It's perfect for him.
But
and they know
we
it.
don't,
Yeah.
and like we don't have that in Philly. Like,
Yeah,
we have
and
a
it doesn't
great
look
system,
clean
but
with us yet.
it
You're
doesn't
right, bro.
look like it's built for Jalen, right? Like, it might at times, but it's more run based, which is great. We have Saquon Barkley and a great O-line, but when I look at Detroit, I'm like, boy, Jared Goff has his issues, but Ben Johnson has it pretty perfect around him. When I look at the Eagles, I'm like, they're still trying to fit a little bit of a square peg in a round hole with Jalen Hurts.
I agree. I agree a little bit. I think time is ticking. That's why I got to be critical a little bit. Time is
It's week 15. This was week 14. We're going into week 15. Dude.
I agree. I don't want to be rude because I can't remember my boy's name, but I watch him every time because sometimes he come in tipsy a little bit. But
Akbar?
No. My dude that was just on before me. I know sometimes he can be a little bit optimistic, it seems like. But one thing I do kind of agree on is just the fact that this is another thing. Let me add this real quick. This is just a little jab at Sills of them. Had Hurts threw 5 touchdowns, that's what they would have been saying. It's Carolina. I don't believe it yet. I need to see more. I gotta see.
That's true.
So let's get. That's why NFL wins are wins, and I said this before. I don't do the whole are they good, bad thing. It's tough regardless. Let's get the win.
It is.
And if Jalen Hurts would have threw for 300 yards today, everybody would say he need to prove it more. It's just the truth.
Yeah, but if he threw for 300 yards today, you know what would have happened, Caleb? That team would have been blown out of the water.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, this is what I wanted to say. This is how I feel about one. I think it's certain quarterbacks that blow out teams like Carolina. But I think it's certain quarterbacks that has a chance to beat really good teams like Jalen Hurts. And I will take once again, we can't really say Pittsburgh going to be a good question for us. We're going to learn a lot at Pittsburgh.
They're physical, man. They're a good team.
We're going to learn a lot at Pittsburgh. If we can beat Pittsburgh, I think we need to just say, hey, we just need to take the lumps of where we got this
Did
team.
they get the win today, by the way? The Steelers? I didn't have a chance to
Yeah,
look.
they won. They won. They blew them out. They blew out the Browns. It was a close game in the beginning, but they blew them
Were
out.
they missing Pickens in that game too?
They was missing Pickens in that game as well.
Yeah, they were a pretty
Mike
good team.
Williams, they got
I
Mike
didn't keep
Williams
up
over there
on
too
them.
now. They got Mike Williams over there too, and Mike Williams looks healthy. But
yeah, that's good. All right, brother. Any other final thoughts here on the game? Did it move the Super Bowl meter expectation for you at all?
nah, let me tell you why, and I just really need people to believe me when I say this. Jalen Hurts is an all-pro quarterback. Outside of Matthew Stafford, there's nobody in the NFC that has showed as much ceiling as him. Like, we got to really sometimes just kind of like be a little bit more. I did it with Nick, and I got to eat my words with Nick sometimes. Sometimes we got to look back and look at the resume and say, man, you know what? By now, year 4, after everything, that we might need to give a little bit more grace sometimes.
I'm good with that. You know what I think hurts that, Caleb? I think the roster hurts that. Like, I think at times that makes it harder for Hurts because if you're not perfect or if you're not successful every week or if you don't throw for X amount of yards, that's the expectation. But in a way, that's created by the talent. Like, I don't think there's a quarterback in the league that has a talent that Jalen has around him. Offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, running back. I don't think there's a quarterback out there that can say that.
That's fair. And I really do think that's fair. I think as long as we get to the Super Bowl, we're going to see what happened there. And I think we got a legit shot. And this is more so what I want to say. This game doesn't move the meter a lot for me. It just really did. It just really don't. Now, if we would have lost the game, and I like you saying this, we should have lost that game.
We should have, bro.
Xavier Leggett dropping that ball was wild.
That ball was right in his hands, man. I was jumping in my fucking office. I'm like,
this ain't the refs. This ain't the refs.
I know.
This is straight up, we should have lost that football game. Shout out to Nick Sirianni for punting the ball. I know a lot of people that still might have gambled with Jay Elliott just because of his resume. I know a lot of people that still might have been like, kick it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Coach Sirianni for punting the ball a long field because if it would have been 10 yards shorter, we might have lost the game. So shout out for him punting the ball. Shout out to the punter. But I think we good, man. I can say this. This is where the meter have moved for the Super Bowl for me. I think now we got to get home field, though. And I think we have a chance.
We do have a chance.
Detroit shows a couple of chinks in the armor, and I know I'll be going at Detroit, but I've been going at Detroit for weeks.
Well, they got a lot of injuries. You're right. They got a lot of injuries they're going to have to deal with.
And I think people I love the way they play, man. I'm a players guy, too, so I love the energy. I love Dan Campbell. But you got to get over that hump, and we did already. And I'm a firm believer in if Detroit see us at Philly, it's going to be an ugly sight for them. Now,
I agree, but
if we go to Detroit.
Yeah, I'm not sold that it's going to be in Philly right now. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I appreciate it, man. Great takes today, and I'll talk to you again soon. All right, brother?
You're doing a phenomenal job, Zander. You know, I tell you this every time, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Keep killing it, man. Hey, I'm going to be commenting tomorrow on Seals, though, because Seals got to admit, if Jalen Hurts would have threw for 5 touchdowns and 300 yards, he would have been like, are we really going to talk about the Carolina Panthers? Are we really?
Admit that. But, hey, you're not wrong. I appreciate it, brother.
All right.
See you, man. Good stuff there from Caleb, O-line guru. Caleb Brandon in the chat for those who follow along in the chat. I know his names. I'm not sure if he's commented on anything recently, but I thought he had a super chat I'll put up. Yeah, Caleb Brandon. That's his name in the chat. That's Caleb. Good to get him up here. I'm going to get to Akbar. I'm coming to you next, my friend. Let me just read one thing here before I get to Akbar. Norman Payne became a member. Norman, big thanks for becoming a member. And then Norman puts in a good super chat, a good question here. Norman says, just asking a question. If Jalen Hurts gets hurt, what happens to the Eagles? And I think this is a genius question because I think we can all agree, whether we like or don't like Jalen Hurts, if he goes down, we're fucked. We're fucked with Kenny Flickett. All right. Now, Brian Pumper, I know you don't like Jalen Hurts. I might be the Brian Pumper version of Kenny Pickett's hater. That's my level of hate for Kenny Pickett. So if Jalen goes down, we're toast. And maybe that's why you asked that question, because we're all this criticism of Jalen. And we're like, shit, if we lose him, we're fucked. Norman, good question, man. Thanks for becoming a member, by the way. I appreciate it. Just don't let Kenny Flickett get in the game. You let Kenny Flickett in, we're done. You're done. Let's keep rolling. Akbar the Star, set to join the show. Akbar, what's going on, my man? Great to see you up here. I like the turtleneck, looking fresh, my guy. How you feeling after
Yes, so Yizzo, Xander, man. What's up, dog?
Oh, you're feeling good. Are you feeling good after that win?
Why you say it like that?
I don't know. You just came in. You got some energy. You got some hype. You're looking good. You're smiling. I don't know. Maybe you're feeling good.
Nizzo. I wasn't. It's not like that. I was just thinking of some silly shit in my head as I was watching. Like shout out to my man Caleb. My man Caleb in his bag right now. He was under the light. You know what I mean? He had the mic and all that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He had his hair done. You know what I mean? His licky act was looking all fresh. You know what I mean? Because reason why I'm bringing that up because way back when it used to look like he was in a halfway house. He had the ceiling in half dark. So he like hold up. You know what I mean? Let me get in my bag. Like that. I was just laughing at that. I thought that was cool. But shout out to Caleb. That's what's up, man.
All right, Jalen Hurts today, man. Where are you? Where are you on Jalen Hurts, the passing game? What everybody's been talking about. What do you think of it?
Where I'm at with Jalen Hurts is where I was at like beginning of the season. Well, no, I'm at where I'm at with Jalen Hurts is where I was at when I took him off the bum juice list. You know what I mean? He's not bum juice, but he throws the ball late. You know what I mean? He struggles reading defenses. I mean, this is the same old shit that we've been dealing with. This is the whole point of us running the ball in the first fucking place. Like, let's not lose sight of that, please. Let's not lose sight of the beginning of the whole off season, how many questions we had going in with this team to the point Don Cataldi, you know what I mean, the nose, you know what I mean, he said we was only going to win 5 games. And then Sil said 9, and I backed him. I was on Sil on his wagon, like, yeah, 9. Now I took it up to 10, right? They surpassed my expectations. They won 11. I wasn't looking at this, but we had all these questions. How was Jalen gonna we pretty much knew he wasn't gonna hand off the rock. You know what I mean? Because that's not what they was doing. We had questions about what was going on with Reddit and Huff. Are the rookies going to be good? Is Vic Fangio going to be good? How is Kellen Moore going to be? This edition, Saquon Barkley. What kind of play? What kind of addition would he be? We never thought that he would be the catalyst of the team. So I want to make fun of saying all that. I want to say that this is what the Bull Hot Sport was trying to articulate, but he didn't articulate it well. You know what I mean? How does a guy like that become a Eagles fan? And you laughing. Z, you laughing. You went to school in my hood. You know North Philly. So you know how we is. We cheesesteaks. You know what I mean? We in a Chinese store, chicken wings and fries, salt, pepper, ketchup. You know what I'm saying?
That's last night. A Steve's Prince of Steaks last night. Double meat, double cheese, whiz wit, double cheese, double meat for Z. That's my order.
That's what's up.
You said ill. What do you get? You know,
cheese? No, ill mean good.
Good. All right, yeah. Good ill. I got you.
Like, yeah. So I'm saying, like, so how does a guy like that become he should be a San Francisco 49ers fan? Like, didn't Sil say they drink like spritzers and shit? You know what I mean? This motherfucker.
Rose and spritzers, dog. Rose. They drinking rose out there.
This motherfucker got a waiter coming bringing him a real T-bone steak, and he ain't even in a press box. He in a motherfucking in the stands, like, you know what I mean, eating a T-bone steak. He got a real knife and shit. Like, I don't know, how does he an Eagles fan? That's funny. But shout out to him too. I'm just fucking with you, dog. But with what he was trying to articulate, there were other takeaways from this game other than Jalen Hurts. That's what he was trying to say. And that's why I'm not so angry that they lost. See, okay, I'm gonna tell you like this too. It's 2 things that men get way too emotional about. That's women and football. You know what I mean? You gotta be a little bit more logical You got to be logical when you're looking at this game because both. You got to hit on. You got to look at things a different way. We already know that Jalen Hurts. We know that. We know that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith should be getting the ball more. The tight ends. We know Jahan Dotson should be incorporated more in the offense. But if the ball can't do that, and then we get to the point in saying, just stop throwing the ball, man. Just hand the rock off to Saquon. And he does it. And he wins 10 fucking times. That's why I'm looking at them aspects. The offensive line still played good. In my opinion.
But did you not just highlight the problem without knowing it?
I know what the problem is, but I don't think I've seen defenses carry teams to the Super Bowl plenty of times. I've seen it plenty of times. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl, but I still feel
confident, Akbar. Like, I hear what you're saying because you're like, we want them to run the ball. Now they're running the ball and we're mad. Yeah, I get it. But wasn't that we ran for 210 yards today? Our defense allowed 16 points, which in the NFL world, in the modern NFL, is a pretty damn good day at the offense. And we're the only reason we're talking here about a win is because Xavier Legette has shitty hands. Like, does that not prove to you that what we got right now, as much as we like it, as good as Saquon's been, as great as the offensive line's been, as good as our defense has been, it might not be enough when you're crunching the numbers late in the year and you're playing the greatest teams and the margins of error are so much smaller and the field shrinks and all. You get what I'm saying? Like, wasn't that proof? We ran the ball for 210. Our defense gave up 16, and we almost lost to the Panthers.
Now, the one key element that you just said is that the offense only scored 16. And we keep going back to this. We've been saying this for like 3 months, how nobody can score 17 points on a goddamn team. We've been saying it every week.
Lions.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's still constant. And, listen, me and the Bull flexing, shout out to the Bull flexing. We was going back and forth last week about Carolina, right? Because I had brought up, I was like, damn, KC was just struggling against them. He was like, don't sleep, dog. Don't sleep, dog. They've been playing teams crazy. So I was coming on
for the game. Flex has a good eye for the game.
He does. And I was prepared to come on here and put it in his face that we routed him like we should have, but we didn't. So what I said to him was, yo, you was right. Like, these boys is playing people hard. And I mean, you just got to respect it. Like, what is this college? Is this college fucking football? Like, is this Alabama against Chattanooga where because we playing Chattanooga, we supposed to blow them out by 63 points? Like, this is the NFL. Like Bryce looked like Alabama Bryce today. Like, he looked all right. Like, and Adam Thielen is the equivalent. Adam Thielen, in the terms of the baddest white wide receivers in the league, is Cooper Kupp before Cooper Kupp. What he did today, I expect Cooper Kupp to do a couple weeks ago. Adam Thielen doing that. Adam Thielen is like that. He is like that. He's nothing to snooze at. Like, he's that bull. So and also Reed Blankenship, he wasn't there. So I thought that had something to do with Cooper DeJean getting beat the way he was because he's used to having that correlation and that camaraderie with Reed Blankenship. And we also missing BG. That's an issue as well. The bull Nolan Smith, I didn't think he had a real shitty game. You know what I'm saying? I heard Sil say I thought he was okay. I mean,
the
but
D-line got manhandled today, Akbar. That's the truth.
They did.
If you watch the trenches of that game, and you even look at, like, I was watching some extra tape, like just after halftime, that D-line was getting manhandled. I mean, that offensive line was good for the Panthers.
It was. Hubbard looked official. Hubbard looked like an official running back.
I know what I like about him. I like that he makes every first guy miss. Like, He's a hard dude to get down. Even when they were meeting him in the backfield, he was figuring out how to get 1-2 yards. It reminded me of Saquon, who always figures out how to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he was nice. He was nice. So we can't count that out either. I mean, whatever they've been cooking up in Carolina these past couple weeks, you know what I mean, is that thing sitting on the stove simmering right now. Like, it's marinating, and they letting it build for whatever it's worth. Like, they've been losing a lot of close games. So you can't the defense did what they were supposed to do. They ain't let them score over 17, and the offense did what they were supposed to do, which looked like shit. To be honest with you, dog, I wanted them, like, I'm ready for them to lose another game, because I'm not sure that we can win out all the way to the Super Bowl. I want to see another loss and see what kind of how they retribute themselves after the loss. I want to see that, because you winning. We got the formula, and our formula is working. You know what I mean? But I want to see what happens when it fails, and what you're going to do when you come back off of that. I don't want it to be in the playoffs where you one and done there. You see what I'm saying?
I see, dude. That'd be 17 straight if they win out and then try and go to the bowl. 17
that's what
straight.
I'm saying.
I think you're
That's
right.
what I'm saying. Like, how have we ever seen that before? I'm not even sure if we ever seen that before.
Patriots team that lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl caught up to them. I can't.
I'm talking about win. I ain't talking about losing. I'm talking about win. Like, have we ever seen a team just straight out boom? Like, so I kind of wanted that boy to. He got hands like feet. That dude, legged. Yeah, he got hands. He got arms like. He got arms like. Yeah, he got hands like feet, arms like legs. Like, that's his last name, Leggett.
Yeah, Leggett.
He tried to.
Well, he gave us a gift. We might be giving away a Xavier Leggett jersey this week, for fuck's sake. He gave us a gift.
We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
All right, so you still feel good. I mean, Akbar, this is like the Akbar positivity segment all of a sudden. This guy went from Jalen Hurts' bum juice to who cares that he throws for 80 yards. We're the greatest team. Holy shit.
Yo, cuz dig it, Z. Who want to see us at the end of the day? Like, I know how good Detroit. Okay, Caleb made an awesome fucking point about how he would rather have Jalen Hurts instead of Jared Goff. Now, I'm not there on that tip. I'm not there, but I understand why he said what he said, and he's saying that because he must have been watching Jared Goff since Cal. I watched Jared Goff throw 5 interceptions in a few college games. I couldn't believe that everybody was all over this kid like he was supposed to be number one. It's so much so that I totally understood why McVay traded him straight up and got rid of his ass and brought in Stafford. And you seen he won a Super Bowl. He's shaky. Like, he played good, in a regular season, just like Caleb said, but I mean, when it's crunch time, he had a good season he had a great season last season. And they did the balance on offense, the balance on defense. Anyway, I still like our defense against any team, any quarterback, any wide receivers that they got in the whole goddamn league, the whole NFL, AFC, NFC, East, West. I don't give a fuck where is that. Like, who want to see us for real? Who? Don't say no motherfucking Kansas City either, because he okay.
Yeah, you're talking about Kansas. Kansas City's an AFC team. We ain't seeing them until we get to the bowl. That's a different conversation. Talk to me about Detroit. Talk to me about Green Bay. Talk to me about Minnesota. Talk to me about the Buccaneers, who have had our number. I mean, talk to me about the Falcons. I mean, these are all teams that can throw the ball. When you get into the playoff game with those teams, if they can throw the ball, we could have an issue. It's fair to say that.
How many of those teams are top 5 and run defense? How many of them? That I'm pretty sure maybe I'm not even sure if Detroit defense is all that in run support. I don't think so. I don't know about Minnesota. I didn't see them this week. I seen them last week. They were supposed to lose that game. They was definitely supposed to lose to Arizona, and they pulled it off. Like this boy Sam Darnold, he looking all right. Aaron Jones.
Akbar, you know who the number one run defense in the NFL is?
Who?
The Minnesota Vikings.
Well, I got to be optimistic.
What Detroit Lions are?
Which one?
Number 5.
All right, so well, we know what we cooking. We know what we cooking with. We still know we cooking with hot butter because we went up against a ranked number 2 last week. So we know kind of where we at if we can run it. Our offensive line is still the best offensive line in the whole goddamn league. We got the best defense in the whole goddamn league. Like that ain't nothing to sneeze at. Like, and we got the best running back in the whole goddamn league. Now, okay, the quarterback is a little trippy. Like he ain't all that. He not. But I mean, what I'm supposed to be? Oh God, and I gotta look at other aspects of the game, whereas though it would make sense for me to be more logical in a sense where I'm not going crazy because I already know. It's like all right. It's like how you gonna get a broad, you know what I mean, that don't cook, you know what I mean, and then take her, you cuff her, and then after you cuff her, you expect her to get in the kitchen and start burning. Like you knew before coming in that you couldn't fucking cook. You knew she couldn't cook. So what you bitching about it for? What you bitching about it now for? No, I know the ball. He can't throw the ball on time. He's not on time. And it is what it is. He still ain't turn the ball over. You know what I mean? He didn't fumble the rock. You know what I mean? He didn't lose us the game. Now, again, saying all that, I 100% understand what everybody is being critical about. I dig it. But even though still, this was the closest game to 2023 that I seen after the bye. You see what I'm saying? This is the closest one that I've seen in terms of how inept he looked in the quarterback position. I haven't seen this before since
Just looked awkward back there to me today. He looked so uncomfortable. It was like you almost had secondhand discomfort because from watching it. I was like, get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Just get rid of it. I mean, it was too much scrambling. It wasn't. I don't. To this day, I don't understand why he can't do the 2-step drop throw. Like I just feel like that would be so good in his offensive arsenal. I don't understand why they never do that. Like all that holding the ball and waiting for shit if you're gonna hold the ball that long, you might as well throw a bomb to AJ. We haven't seen that in a few games. Maybe he's dealing with some sort of leg thing, injury shit. You know what I mean? He can't, or maybe they trying to test Jalen in intermediate passes because he's definitely been going through the middle more as of late than ever. I love that touchdown that he threw to Calcaterra. Like I heard it was all script. Yeah, it was all script, but it looked it was accurate. He threw it in between 2 defenders. So I mean, we could shit on a bull. We could shit on him, but I mean, I ain't want, and I'm not trying to be one of them bulls. Oh well, win is a win. I'm not one of them dudes. Like I'm just looking at it from. You want to say, okay, it was Carolina.
Is he your bum juice player of the day? Who's your bum juice player of the day? There's only one. Candidate.
Why you gotta do that, Sam? Why you gotta do that?
We got to. He's the bum juice player of the game. Is that true or not, Akbar? I'm taking that as that's true, Big Z.
Wait, let me think about it. Yes. Other day. I'm gonna say bum juice of the day. I'm gonna say he bum juice of the day. He's the bum juice of his offense, to be honest with you.
Oh, man.
He's the bum juice. But think about it. You can't say everybody in the offensive line at the position is top 10.
I know.
You know what I mean? Everybody and our
ain't the problem,
receivers.
that's
Our receivers is top 10. Our running backs is top 10. He is the Achilles heel. He always has been. But the fact that they doing the fact that they not doing the same shit that they did last year and not run a ball, I can't complain. I really can't. Like the
I hear
ball
you.
look like shit.
All right, I got to run, brother. I got to run. Any final thoughts, real quick? I got to run. I'm up against it a little bit here.
Good. I don't say so much.
Akbar positive. That's your new name. You went from bum juice hurts early in the year to if you want a dose of positivity, just turn on Mr. Akbar and he'll tell you that.
Nah. Don't do that. Don't do that,
plan.
Z. Don't do that. Okay, well, Z, real quick. My last question for you is, who are the top 5 teams that's Super Bowl bound right now? After this week that you sent, this
Bills
Buffalo
game is
Bills
crazy.
game,
I got it
it's
on
fucking
too.
awesome.
Holy shit, 38-35. That's a game. I think the Bills are up there. Now, I don't think the Bills are going to make it because I don't think they have everything they need. Their defense is suspect. They don't have a lot of weapons. I think it's the Josh Allen show right now. Kansas City, you got to put in there back-to-back. They're 11-1. I mean, you can't take them off. And then I got 3 NFC teams. I think the Lions, I think the Eagles, and I think the Vikings. I think that listen, I was so out on that Vikings team because of Sam Darnold, but I like Brian Flores, and that dude's playing good, right? It's like Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I see the problems with Jared Goff, but boy, they got that guy in the right system. That's how I feel about Sam Darnold right now.
Yeah.
Those are my 5.
Sam
Eagles, and you can maybe put the Ravens in there as 6 or 7, but they just seem to lose too many games. And then the Bills.
Well, the thing I wanted to point out is that you had us in there. So the fact that we in the talk is a reason to hold your head with some logic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I
think I've tried to do that today.
No,
you think I'm talking crazy?
No, I ain't saying, you definitely not talking crazy, but you got your I'll say you got your foot in Jalen Hurts' ass. I'll tell you that. You definitely got your foot in his ass.
83 fucking yards at a Panthers, Akbar? Holy shit. All right, I got to run, my friend. I appreciate you doing it.
All right, homie. Thanks for having me. It was fun, dog.
You got it, man. I love talking to you. Good stuff there from Akbar, brother. Oh, man. Holy shit. Good stuff from Akbar. Got a couple more. I'm coming in. I keep losing. Jay the Legend. Clary Voy, I'm coming to you next, my friend. Here he comes. What's up, brother? How you feeling on this football Sunday, 9th straight wins for the Philadelphia Eagles? Uh-oh, I don't have you. Mike is donezo, my friend. Your mic is donezo. Settings on StreamYard and find that mic drop down. Jack, I love this dude's house too. I don't know if he can. I think he can hear me. I can't hear him. I told him that a couple weeks ago. He got the log cabin.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I got you.
Whew, man, I got a new headset, dude. The struggle's real.
What's that, a gaming headset? Are you a gamer?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm a gamer.
What's your game?
Dude, I like playing League of Legends.
Okay, I don't know.
League of Legends or TFT. I've been playing the same.
Call of Duty, baby. I love.
Man, it's my Nick Sirianni style right now, dude. Got the kid. Don't be rough with me, all right?
All right.
That's what he does, so I might as well do the same, right?
All right, I hear you. What'd you think of the game today, bro?
I didn't think much. I want to be honest with you. I didn't think much. All right, okay.
You were talking a little bit of smack on Jalen in the chat, though, so you're not feeling too hot about Jalen Hurts.
Nah. So I called Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
Hurts.
that was you. That's right.
I've been calling him Tim Tebow Hurts back in like week 2, and it appears to be the issue. Do I think it's the issue of Hurts? Or do I think it's the issue of the coaching? I think it's more the coaching. Like, man, you got to coach people to their strengths, and the coaches don't do that. I mean, they're starting to see the picture because you see the RPOs. What are they? 22, 24%. That it needs to be like 90% is RPOs because
I
the
know.
kid can't read defenses. It is what it is. I mean, if we want to win a Super Bowl, that's what we got to do. If we're not going to do that, then good luck, right? I don't know what else to say. In the regards of our offense, Hurts, is he clutch? Yeah, he's clutch. He's clutch when he needs to be. He doesn't need to be great all the time, but you can't look pathetic. I mean, what do you think? Did he look pathetic today? He looked pathetic to me.
I mean, he looked pretty. I don't want to use that's a tough word, but I mean, you're toting the line for sure. I mean, 108 passing yards, 25 yards of sacks. You have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. You're playing versus frickin' the Carolina. Yeah, I mean, pathetic might be the right word, unfortunately.
I'm going to give you this, right? What are you in right now? Why are you not in you're a Philadelphia fan. You're superstitious. I know you are.
I'm not superstitious.
Oh, you should be.
There's not a bone in my body that is
You
superstitious.
should be, because look
Well,
what
I'm
you're
a
in right now.
faith-filled man, and I think my faith overrides my ability to believe in superstitions, if that makes sense.
Touche. However, when it comes to the Eagles, I have I correlate things. You're not
Okay,
in a
that's fine.
Jacob.
I'm good with that.
You're
I'm
not in a
not
Jacob
criticizing
shirt
you
right
for
now.
it.
You're not in the Jacob merch right now.
Yeah, somebody else commented that earlier.
And then look what happened. This shit was a
Where's my
struggle.
hat? Is it in the studio? Where is it? I need it. You're right. I don't have it in here.
Yeah, because look at it. It's man, dude, we did not look good today. The Steelers. What'll happen is they'll look really good against the Steelers, and then we're like, oh, that was just. It is what it is. I think this is more of a coaching thing, even more than Jalen Hurts. How do we go and put our players in our passing game to succeed? Right now, I think. I mean, let's be honest. Moore had Dak, and a lot of people compare Hurts to Dak. They're still not the same person, right? I think Dak might be a better progression. He might just be a better quarterback in the regards of passing. When it comes to Herbert, we all know Herbert's better. Everyone knows Herbert's better. Herbert is ranked as a top 5 quarterback. He don't win shit. You know what I mean? But guess what? Everyone thinks he's good. Why? Because he is that good. He just
he's
is
got talent.
Yeah, and Hurts just isn't that person. And you're slowly but sure, you see it. Our offense is devolving. All the motions disappeared. In the regards of all the progressions disappeared. RPOs are coming back up. You know what I mean? As you see, our offense is going from that traditional, we're going to be the best offense ever. We have Peyton Manning as a quarterback. It's going back to, we have Tim Tebow as our quarterback. It is what it is, man. I think it's still the season. So, we're going to make the playoffs. I want us to get the 1 seed because I think that's our best way of winning, honestly. Especially if we're in Philadelphia, it's going to be cold as shit up there. It's cold down here in Mississippi. What do you think it is up there?
It's not too cold today, actually, but it was cold this week here in the city. All right, brother, I got to run, man. Good takeaways on the game. It sounds like I can't really tell. You're in the middle still right now, but you don't want to not believe your eyes that Jalen doesn't look good. Is that?
So what do you want to ask me in that regards? Because
is this team a legitimate Super Bowl contender with a passing offense that's bottom of the league with the likes of the Panthers, the Patriots, and the shitty teams of the league like that? Because that's where we are. If you look at the rankings right now, and we dropped the spot today, by the way, because the Panthers outpassed us in this game. If you look at the passing offenses in the NFL, these are your bottom 5. Patriots, Giants, Titans, Panthers, Eagles. That's where we are.
I will say we are a Super Bowl contender. If you notice, every game, 1 or 2 plays a game, we have that RPO with a slant, and every time it's either AJ Brown or Devontae Smith on that slant they're in the kind of slot position, and every time that is a 12-13. We might as well run that fucking play every time. Because guess what? Oh, you're stopping because Jalen Hurts needs to read one person. He's calling protections. He's overwhelmed. All right. He needs to read one person and be like, oh, they're doing this. Oh, I can pass the ball. Oh, he's doing this. I mean, but today, I think he might have just had a bad game too. And I'm not a Jalen Hurts lover. You know,
No, you're not. You've
that
been
dude,
consistent on
that dude had a hole to just follow Saquon Barkley, and he was like, "Nah," and he ran
ran into
straight
Lane
into Lane Johnson.
What
And it's like,
happened there?
it's like,
I'm happy you saw. I'm like, am I seeing things? Because Jalen hits that hole easily on any other day, and he just ran into the back of Lane Johnson. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
so
All right, brother.
I'll talk to you, man. I'll see you,
All
man.
right,
But see you later, dude.
All right, good stuff, man. Oh man, it's easy to get going. Once you start talking about this team, you can just fucking keep rolling. That's what people do. I love it, man. All right, Dio, I'm coming to you. Jay the Legend, you're in and out. Your picture's not working. What's going on over there, dude? Let's get the Dio right now joining the show. Dio, what's up, man? I like the Eagles Christmas hat. How you feeling on this Sunday, brother?
I've seen better games for Jalen, that's for certain.
Yeah,
this has definitely got to be the worst game of his worst game of the year, right? But also, you know what? I think there's
I didn't think
I think there's a theme though.
What do you think of the passing offense? Can they fix it? Will they fix it? Do they need to fix it? Where are you on the passing offense in the whole discussion?
Well, I don't. There's a lot of corrections, and Jalen's got to make those throws. But I think there is a kind of theme that maybe underlying all this. And I didn't think about it until recently. This was probably the worst team he played against, except for our division games that we played this year too. The Giants, Dallas maybe were worse teams, but since the division, that those games can be weird. But Carolina's probably the worst team next to those two, right?
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with the Giants. I think Dallas is a little better than them, but they're missing a lot of people. So maybe Dallas is down there too with Cooper Rush.
Yeah, and basically when we played them too, they were missing a lot. We got ahead fast.
Right.
Exactly. They had no chance, right?
All right, yeah.
Once you started to track me. But he plays the worst against those teams. Maybe not the division ones as much because it's a little different game. But against Carolina, some of the other teams like last year when we played Arizona, I think he had a bunch of picks. But I think part of that is wait a minute, here's the rest of the thing. So he's playing down to those other quarterbacks and those other teams because he's protecting the ball more and not trying to turn it over. So he's not making those passes over the middle. So that's kind of like so he takes that out of it because he doesn't want to throw a pick and thinks we'll beat them some other way, which costs us a lot of consternation as fans because they still end up winning these games and he's not making throws over the middle that are open and that he should be making. And hopefully they can correct if they play someone better. And I think it is correctable. But again, and I'm not a Jalen lover, but I just love Jalen a whole lot more than Dak Prescott. That's for certain. Because I've been watching that guy choke for 9 years, man. I'm with Philly 500 all over that one. But
I agree with that. Dak is a choke artist. All right, so you feel like
Jalen's got a lot of work.
Yeah, he does. You still feel like we're a Super Bowl contender with this team, or what?
I do. I think Jalen is better when he's working harder, man. I think he's going to go in and put in the effort and get better next week with Pittsburgh. The thing, I love O-line guru, right? But I think it was off on one thing. I don't think this team is scared to go into Detroit. I think if we go into Detroit, we're going to mop that place up with them. And the reason why I say that is, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Their defense can't keep up with us. When they come to play like that, and if Hurts is on his A game, do you not think we mop it up if Hurts plays like he did in the Super Bowl?
I want you to think about what you just said. You just told me that Detroit's defense can't keep up with us. We just struggled mightily against the worst defense maybe in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm not saying
I can't buy that yet on Detroit.
Well, then maybe not the worst one. The thing is, I'm not saying Detroit's defense is that bad. I'm saying we shouldn't have struggled as much against them.
You're saying
we're going to play better against them than what we played today. That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
They better fucking play better, or else they'll be losing 48-0.
That's it. Agreed. But that's also the point. That wasn't the team that showed up in Detroit, right? Or that wasn't the team that showed up in Baltimore last week. We saw it there. We'll see it again. And this will be another great test for this series next week in Pittsburgh. Do we have a team that shows up like the one in Baltimore, or do we have the one that shows up in Carolina? But I think that's a lot because Jalen plays much safer, much more conservative game. I'm going to do some tape and see if I can figure it out from that perspective, if the numbers also back it up. But I think he plays incredibly more conservative game against lesser teams and lesser quarterbacks because he doesn't think he has to do that. He'll do it in the third and fourth quarter because he knows they have to score then. But in the first and second quarter, he can make a whole lot more mistakes and give up those passes over the middle that are open because he thinks he's going to make another play later or he might get somewhere else in that play. For him, for Jalen, it's not that he can't make it, which I think a lot of people say, right? But for Jalen, he chooses not to do it for some reason. So I think that's a whole lot better than having someone that can't, and like obviously Dak that chokes. But then I think also some other players that can do it, but don't also give you that other option. If he can do it on those big games still, and it becomes that becomes the trend instead of just each game is a trend. Then I think I'm going to try to look at it, see if I can find the numbers to support it. But it might be next weekend before I can get to it because I work as well. So, but anyway. So what do you think? Do you think? What was your thoughts on the top 5 again? Who do you think the top 5 defenses are
in the NFL right now?
Yeah, because I haven't watched the Vikings. I really wanted to see. Since you've said that, I want to go back and kind of watch them now, but I haven't really looked at them all year.
I think the Eagles are still the best defense, but I mean they didn't have a bad day. They gave up 302 yards today and 16 points.
Yeah, and a lot of that was off schedule, and they did get pressure, just not very good pressure. I think if you have, Graham in there, right? I think there's probably a lot more finishing on those sacks as opposed to a lot more.
Broncos are a good D, but they're AFC. I'm not worried about AFC. Chargers are a great defense. Vikings are a great defense. The Bills normally have a good defense, but they're getting shredded up there right now.
So I noticed something that wasn't in there though. Detroit's defense.
Detroit is in there. I did say Detroit. They're giving up.
Did you?
They're giving up 18 yards, 18 points a game, dude. They're actually ranked higher than the Eagles in terms of points allowed per game.
Points per game. Oh, right. They have points, but
points allowed. They're giving up
some more shootouts. All right, I'll definitely go back and watch them some too. But I wasn't thinking it would be in the top 5. But all right, I was. But that would be interesting if those guys are both. I knew the running games were in there. But that was the other thing I was going to mention, right? What was Baltimore's running defense at last week? I think you guys had said that. Weren't they like 1 or 2?
They were 2, right? Last weekend, were they?
Yeah. And what are they now, man? Because they ain't 2 when we went up against them. So I just think the same thing will be true for Detroit and Minnesota with those run games. We're historic, right? With Barkley. This 40 years, right? People are saying this. Until they play this offense with this O-line and that running back, their defense might be 5. It might be 1. It might be 2. But they're going to end up looking like the Ravens when it gets done, right?
We'll see what ends up happening, brother. All right, man.
Hopefully they can do it in Pittsburgh. Number 2, Pittsburgh, right? You guys are the best. Thank you guys for doing this. It's so much fun, man. I can't thank you enough.
Good stuff there from Dio joining me here on JAKIB Sports on the post-game show. Got everybody in. Let me try and get Jay up. Jay keeps joining. I don't know what's going on with you, Jay. I don't know if you can hear me. Jay, you got me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, my internet keep cutting on and off.
You got that dial-up.
I don't know what's wrong.
What's going on over there? You got that dial-up net.
No, I got Wi-Fi. It's just messing up.
All right. What'd you think of the game today?
Yeah, I thought when it came to Jalen Hurts, even though we know typical Dan Sileo, he's a Jalen Hurts hater. I call him a diabolical hater. But yeah, Jalen Hurts, I thought that he played okay in this game. He had 2 touchdowns. Touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah, until up in the end. At the end of the game, he made some bad decisions. He left some points. He left a lot of points on the floor. I would agree on that. But I think people were blowing this out of control. You got to put stuff into context. Like we know Jalen Hurts is a proven passer. His decision making was the problem.
What do you think of this then?
His decision making.
A.J. Brown, the star wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, thinks it's a problem. You don't think it's a problem?
Yeah, I said his decision making was the problem.
Oh, I'm talking about this whole motherfucking passing offense, not just the decision making. The whole passing offense, the whole shebang. You got the tight end, you got the 2 wideouts, you got the offensive line, you got Jalen Hurts. They stink. They stink in the passing game right now. Dude, I gave you the ranks, Jay. We're bottom of the league with the likes of the Panthers, the Titans, the Giants, and the Patriots. Do I need to read that list of teams again? Do you want to be talking about the Panthers and the Titans?
Then the thing about it is we're not passing the ball enough. He only threw it 21 attempts.
Kenny?
It's only been 21 attempts.
21 attempts get you 100 yards. That's
Yeah,
not very,
it's only been 21 attempts.
that's not
Yeah,
very
it's only 21 attempts. Yeah, he only getting 21 attempts, and then he had then we going 3 and out on some plays where he made some bad decisions. He made some real questionable decisions, like he ran and got sacked on 8 instead of running the ball with Saquon, which was a dumb. I don't know what he was thinking about that on that play. That was a dumb. I don't know what he was thinking about. That was some goofy decision. And then he had one play where I guess he was supposed to trying to throw it to AJ, and I don't know what happened.
All right, you're
It
more
was crazy.
optimistic on this thing than I am right now. Maybe when I get to bed tonight, maybe when I wake up refreshed and I got to deal with John McMullen and Dan Sileo tomorrow, and I got to battle with those two guys. Maybe I'll listen back to this interview and say, all right, Jay was right. But right now, you sound like Anton. You sound like Anton, and that's a little bit too much optimism for me. But listen, I appreciate you joining, brother. I got to run. All right, man. Good stuff. Oh man, y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. I always get something that I laugh at when I'm on here. Jay says, all right. Jay's got to leave. All right. Oh man. Jay, appreciate it, brother. Thank you for working through your internet issues to get up on the show. I got some super chats I gotta read. 3.5 hour post-game show, everybody. Holy shit. Oh, Brandon's back. Look at this guy. Brandon was crying up a storm in the first hour of the show. Crying left and right. Up, Zander, how can you say this? Meanwhile, we throw up for 83 yards versus one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Brandon Kennedy wants to tell you everything is great. Everything is peaches and cream in Philly. The sun is shining. The birds are winning. Everything is great. That's what Brandon wants to tell everybody. Look at him, 15-2. Oh my God, Brandon. Brandon, I like you better when you're crying, dude. Go back to crying like you were in hour number 1. Appreciate you being here. Bearded Willie for $10. Thank you, Bearded. He says, I'm tired of this offense, not our offensive line, not our running back. I'm tired of our quarterback and receivers not living up to their potential. Does anybody disagree with that? Why would anybody disagree with that? 2 top 10 receivers, whatever you want to call Goddard, a top 5 tight end, top 7 tight end, whatever you want to call him. Best offensive line in football, best running back in football, another new coordinator. Like I agree with the one dude earlier who's like, all right, how much can we give Jalen, yo? Like seriously, how much can we put in front of Jalen? How good can we make the situation for Jalen Hurts to thrive before people will be able to say, okay, this is now a problem? I don't know. It might be infinity. Caleb Brandon, this was the L I think we bounced back from. That's not a bad take because now who knows if we're going to bounce back, but it almost did feel like a loss. So like people like to lose because I think it gets you back on track or it makes you realize your problems. You might have got that feeling from that game today, Caleb. Brian Pumper, Akbar looking like he finna free the locals of the underground city of Zion from the grips of the Sentinels. All right. I don't know. Akbar, if I'm you, I'm taking that as a compliment. Free the underground city of Zion. I mean, if you're freeing a whole city, Akbar, that's pretty good. It would be for me. Brian. Brian Pumper is a funny ass dude. If it feels like butt, smells like butt, and looks like butt, he is butt. All right. Holy crap. The amount of gymnastics the Jalen Hurts Society is doing is insane. The brother stinks. Our version of Malik Willis. 19 pass attempts, sub 100 yards. Is this even life? We championing this? Brian is coming for everybody right now, yo. Brian is coming for everybody. Yes, Rashid, I got the Bills game on. I'm not watching it because I'm listening to you guys. Let me check. What's going on? What's going on in this thing? What's it, 44-35? Look at Josh Allen, 340 yards and 3 tutties. Oh, it's 22-37. They're going to lose the game. They're down by 9. They're going to lose the game. See ya, Bills. All right, any other comments to get to? Oh, he's talking about Morpheus, Zan, from the Matrix. Akbar, just tell me, is it a compliment or is it not? I don't know, bro. I don't freaking know. You tell me if it's a compliment, all right? Anton said, yeah, Buffalo scores 35, and they're taking an L at a place where we wiped the floor with the Rams. I'd rather be us today. We got rich people problems. Anton, I love you, and I appreciate you coming on this show, but I think you're fucking delusional when you talk about football because I don't think you know what the hell you're saying. What the hell does that mean? We put up 83 passing yards versus one of the worst teams in the NFL, and you're talking about our game versus the Rams? Who gives a fuck about the game versus the Rams? And Buffalo's got 35 points on the board with 350 passing yards, something we haven't been able to do all year. Good night. Good night. Holy shit, you guys got me going crazy. Maybe it's the 3.5 hour show, or maybe it's Anton. Appreciate the super chat, Anton. You know I love you. Good night. Carlos says 3 touchdowns scored or assisted by who in this game? Yeah, I mean, look, everybody wants to. All right, good. Hurts got a tush push, and he threw for 2 touchdowns. He threw for 83 yards, Carlos. It's pitiful, dude. It's pitiful. The passing on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Yeah, Anton, I know you don't. You know who does care about the passing yards, Anton? A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And Jalen Hurts, who was asked about it at the podium. And Nick Sirianni, who got asked about it at the podium. The only person who doesn't give a shit about the 83 yards is Brandon Kennedy, dumbass, and Anton, dumbass. That's the only 2. The whole team wants to tell you they care about it, but you guys don't. So, okay, you know what? Put the rainbows up, get the flags, grease the poles, and we're celebrating in Philly. I mean, it's a stupid take. It's a stupid take. Oh, 3 touchdowns. Oh, good. At least we got 3. We played the Panthers. We put 21 points on the board. You're lucky we had 21. What the fuck? There we go. I'll take that chat. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. It's all love. Fly, Eagles, fly. All right, I got to go. 3.5 hours. I love you all. I'm done talking to you for the day. You guys trying to tell me I should be happy about this. There ain't nothing to be happy about. And if you don't want to believe me, go listen to the players on the team who spoke after the game. They all sound like they're freaking depressed. A.J. Brown's the best receiver in football. The guy can't buy 10 targets to save his life. Carlos tells me I'm bugging. Am I bugging, Carlos? I think you're bugging, my friend. I think you're bugging into believing that we have some sort of a competent passing offense when we're ranked with the Giants, the Titans, the Panthers, and the Patriots. That's, you know what? Wait, everybody. Carlos says I'm bugging. He might be right. Passing offense is great. No worries. Detroit, easy work. Green Bay, easy work. Vikings, nah, not worried. Good night. Holy shit. All right, I got to run. Brian Pumper, you were electric today. Some of the funniest chats you'll ever read. Some of the funniest chats you'll ever read. Yeah, Matt, you know what, Matt? It's depressing that you had to put this, but this is what we're trending toward as a fan base. You know, we used to be a city of real blue-collar workers, of real men who gave a shit about things. Now we're a bunch of social workers in Philly. A bunch of social workers who tell you, oh, everything is great. Oh, we're 11-2. Bunch of social worker Philly. Is that our new mantra? Is that what we become as a city? People used to have dignity. People used to care. Now they just want to tell you how great they are. Meanwhile, we'll get bounced in round 1 with a shitty passing performance, and you're like, oh, we'll be back next year. Look how good our roster is. We got Howie Roseman. I know, it's all peaches and cream. I know, Brandon. I know. You can't take JAKIB. You can't take JAKIB. They're too negative. Oh, my God. I know, you too, Keith. Sills is I know, isn't he rubbing off on me? I know. I just watched the greatest passing game I've ever seen. You're right, Keith. Good God. Philly fans the worst and not from Philly. I'm from Philly, born and raised here. What do you got to say, Carlos? Our city has gone soft. A bunch of flakes. A bunch of flakes, as Flexen says. The beauty of it is that I love all you flakes. Somebody just mentioned me on Twitter. Zander Sileo. Steve, are you in the chat, Steve? I don't know what your name is on YouTube. I know you on Twitter, though. We got good Twitter following. Yeah. You know what? Keith says, why pass when you don't have to? Yeah, we beat the Panthers today because Xavier Legette has shitty hands. And we didn't need a pass. You know what? A great passing game today. Who cares? We didn't need that. Wouldn't have been nice at all. You know what? You have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Why do you care about passing? Who cares, right? Who cares, Keith? You got the 2 top 10 wide receivers. You got the best offensive personnel for any quarterback in the entire NFL. But who cares? You know what? We don't need a pass. Passing? Nah, that's not football. That's not football. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm not Sileo-ized, but I try and be real. If you think we're hanging with the best teams in the league with what we're doing right now, you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming. So we better hope that they turn this thing around. Look at Brandon. He's stuttering too. Maybe I should have said the word I wanted to say. Stuttering. Brandon, get it out. The team looks like shit. Holy shit. You guys are driving me crazy. A-team, Zander Lurie in the building. I would run the team way differently than Jeffrey Lurie. No, I wouldn't run it like Jeffrey Lurie. Me and Jeff don't think alike. Me and Jeff don't think alike. All right, I gotta go. Holy crap, I'm just rambling. You guys got me doing this every week. I thought it wasn't going to happen this week because I've been going on for so long, but it appears it's happened again. All right. I love you all. Even you, Brandon Kennedy. Even you, Keith. I hope you wake up from your slumberland, but I appreciate you. Anton, look at Anton. Turn it around at 11-2. Doesn't that sound like a soccer fan? That's what this guy is. Sounds like a soccer fan. Soccer fan. Soccer fan, Anton. Okay, all makes sense. I get it now. Soccer fan. That's what soccer fans are. I haven't watched a minute of soccer in my life. All right, that's going to do it. Any more super chats I get? Let me make sure I got all my super chats, and then I'm getting the hell out of here. Jack, please let me end this thing. Please let me end this thing. Pumper. Oh, my gosh. All right. That's going to do it, everybody, for the JAKIB Postgame Show. Birds win 22-16. Many people will believe that everything is okay in Eagle Land. And for a short time, it is. We are 11-2, and we're first in the NFC East, and we're going to march into the playoffs pretty easily. And we have a good chance at winning 3 of our last 4 games. Okay? Everything is all right. But we got some issues we got to fix, and we'll talk about that all week long here on JAKIB Sports, and we appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Hit that like button on your way out. I'll read you guys quickly the stat line on the way out the door. 22-16 final. Jalen Hurts, 14 of 21 today, 108 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 sacks for 25 yards. Saquon Barkley, 20 carries, 124 yards. 1 yard shy of the giveaway. Oof. I almost wanted to do it, but when you put up a stinker like that, I can't make any promises. I can't make any amends to the rules when you drop a stinker like that. Jalen Hurts, 8 carries, 59 yards. Pretty good in the running game today. A.J. Brown, best receiver in the NFL. 4 receptions for 43 yards. Okay. Devontae Smith, top 10 receiver in the NFL. 4 receptions for 37 yards. Okay. Grant Calcaterra, 3 catches for 16 yards. Okay. And Jahan Dotson, 1 catch for 5 yards. Lovely. Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond both had good games. Maybe that's the bright spot of the day, is that our defense still looks good. That's going to do it for the show, everybody. Enjoy the win. Only 17 of these things a year. I guess I'm saying that in a little bit of a facetious way as I sit here and rip the team. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that like on your way out, and we'll catch you in the morning on Birds 365.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES. Eagles.